To be the aim for Xabi Alonso and Chelsea as Danny Welbeck has agreed terms to join the Blues from Brighton. Jordan Henderson is also on their shortlist after Brentford agreed to have him leave on a free. Chelsea TV founder Alex Harris told talkSPORT he's happy to see Chelsea learn from their mistakes.
Why do I not mind Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck? Because I don't mind either of them, to be honest with you. Because, number one, I know they're not going to play every week. Number two, they're winners. They've been part of winning sides. And that's what we need. We need people who know how to win.
Meanwhile, Leeds are close to completing a deal to sign James Trafford from Manchester City. A fee of £40 million expected for the 23-year-old. Here's Chief Football Correspondent Alex Crook.
This is a smart move for James Trafford. I feel a bit sorry for him because he went back to City thinking he would be the number one. Then they signed Donnarumma a few weeks later. But I think he showed his quality in those cup competitions. Obviously, City winning the double last season, League Cup, FA Cup, and he was their cup goalkeeper.
Now, last night marked Adam Ramsey-Petty's final individual event in the Commonwealth Games for good. With only 2 bronzes to show for his efforts, Mark Foster told talkSPORT he was clearly off his game.
It's a shock seeing how average is swimming for him. Nothing against other people because, we know his best times. We know how good he is. He does. His coach does. And it's about him being at his best. And he's not at his best at the moment. So it's the bit of what is missing.
And ex-England rugby star Joe Marler's in talks to become a gladiator. The former prop is reportedly lined up for a surprise appearance and will be the biggest celebrity to take on the famous uniform since swimmer Sharon Davis in the 90s.
talkSPORT News.
Andy Burnham wants hard hats to be valued as much as graduation caps. And the Mets looking into social media posts shared by Green Party leader Zach Polansky. Emma has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. The season's changing, so get your car's shim pads and studs checked for summer with a free vehicle safety check. Book in centre or at quickfit.com today.
Outbreaks of rain continue across northern areas with some heavy bursts possible in Northern Ireland and Western Scotland. Elsewhere, it stays dry with some sunny spells.
Morning, it's mid-mornings on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Kevin Nolan alongside me. Noel White and Jordan this week. They're on the holidays enjoying themselves after the back of the World Cup and ahead of the brand spanking new season. Doesn't stop the conversation though, because we've got lots to get stuck into, and you're more than welcome to come and join us on 03717 223344. First topic of conversation is going to be Chelsea and the experience that they are bringing in, talking about the likes of Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck. Is that the right type of experience that you want at your club, Chelsea fans? 03717 223344. If you're a United fan as well, how are you thinking about Danny Welbeck going to Chelsea? You need a number 9, don't you? Bit of experience up there to help the young boys come on in the Premier League. Would you want Danny Welbeck back at Old Trafford? 03717 223344. And we're talking about the managerial merry-go-round as well. Zinedine Zidane. He's been out of action for 5 years after an unbelievable stint at Real Madrid. He's now the national coach of France. We're going to be talking about becoming national managers and what that means for people in the twilight of their careers. 03717 223344. We'll also talk about anything that you want to talk about. It's wide open today, and after midday we're going to talk about a new film regarding football rivalries. It's called The Beautiful Divide. I'm involved with it, so it's a self-shameless plug. We're going to get stuck into that just after midday, so make sure you're sticking around because it's about Spurs and Arsenal, so I'm sure there's a bit of interest in North London on that one. We're wide open this morning. 03717 223344. You're listening to talkSPORT. Got to do it, Kev, mate. You know what I mean? When they give you this slot, when they say, can you cover White and Jordan? I said, yeah, can I plug my own film? That'll be great. How are you, mate? You good?
I'm good, thanks, mate. You? How are you?
Yeah, sound as. It's always a bit of a weird part of the season, this, isn't it? That lull. I know that we've had an international tournament, which was absolutely fantastic and everybody's enjoyed it, but the lads have all gone away on holidays now, and it's just a little bit of a lull before the storm of the new season kicks in. I know that people in Scotland will be moaning at me saying, we kick off on Friday. We've obviously got the National League and the non-leagues kicking off a little bit earlier than the professional stuff as well. What was it like as a player at this particular point? Where you're just about, you know what I mean? You're just having your sangria on the beach, mate. You're thinking, right, I've got to go back on Monday for a bit of training. Pre-season's kicking in, running up the sand dunes and all that type of stuff. What was the mentality like?
Well, I think it's different now. Well, it certainly was from when it first started out. You used to sort of enjoy that sort of 4 or 5 weeks where you just didn't do nothing. You just sort of stayed away.
You were basically like you used to be at school. You get a full 6-week holiday, you lot, don't you? That's good.
Well, they get a bit longer now, to be fair. They do get a bit longer because of the break. But these lads, I mean, you're talking about these lads who've been at the World Cup playing 60-odd games, and that, you know, I think the most I ever played was maybe mid-40s. So to put another
still a lot,
yeah, but to put another 20 on that is an awful lot of games, and they're doing it not just every 2 years now. They're doing it every year because there seems to be a tournament or a competition going on at the end of every season. And these lads who are all top athletes, they're going to need a break, and I think that's what we've seen. We've seen a little bit of a lull in a lot of the lads who've gone through another tough season in the Premier League after what was a competition last year. So I think we've got to be careful. We've got to be careful of burnout with these lads. And I use that word very, very lightly, but it is because if we want to see the best of our lads, Premier League is the toughest league in the world, no doubt about it. The physicality, the mentality of what you have to do to go in, week out, because anybody beats anybody, and we've seen that in all the time it's been done. And I think that's why sometimes you see when the lads, you think, why do they all look tired? Why do they look like, you know, they're struggling? Because mentally and physically, to do what a lot of them have done this year, to go again and then go again, I think we've got to be careful, and we've got to give them enough rest, and that's where it comes to it, because they don't get the 6 weeks. Yeah, all international players, they don't get 6 weeks; they get 2 or 3.
Yeah. How hard is that?
Not a lot.
From a managerial point of view, how hard is that to manage? Because let's say the highest profile one that you're referring to there might be Declan Rice, right? Yeah. So it was evident in the World Cup that he was off the back of his 60-game season. Yeah. He wasn't the full-on Declan Rice, so he does need a bit of a rest. How hard is that then at the start of this season for Mikel Arteta to manage that fella's minutes in order to make sure that he's still there at the back end of the season, that you're going to get the best out of him?
Exactly, and that's what he's got to manage now. He's got to look at it and think, right, well, can we deal with Dec for the, you know, without Dec, I should say, for the first 3 weeks of the season, and can we give him a real prolonged break and just a layoff, and just to stay away and mentally refocus and mentally sort of get himself back to where he was, because you've got to remember that it's not only the physical toll, it's the mental toll of what he's achieved over the last season. You know, winning the Premier League for the first time, getting to a Champions League final, then going to a World Cup semi-final and having them losses. So and not being at his best, and that'll be breaking his heart that he hasn't gone to the World Cup in tip-top shape, and, you know, trying to work an injury and everything else. So that's where it's got to be. You know, there's got to be a little bit of thought for these players now at this moment in time, because they're churning it out week in, week out, and they're doing a great job at doing it. But we want to see the best of it, and that's why I'm thinking, I'm a big advocate of the fact that it should be just every couple of years now, and leave them for 1 year where they can have a full break, all the international stars.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little bit more about Arsenal and Spurs after midday, so make sure you're sticking around for that. Right now, though, let's talk about experience, mate. Let's talk about experience in this game, because Chelsea seem to have changed tact. Listen, a lot of Chelsea fans that have been following talkSPORT over the last few years have been talking about the frustrations that they see regarding the recruitment. We're all going young, and it's been great at certain points, but there's no gap for experience, especially in a Premier League team. And they seem to have listened to their new manager that has come in, which is obviously a good thing, and they're going in a different direction. What do you make of the noise over the last 24 hours that Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck are being heavily linked as to be players for Chelsea this season?
I can see the reason and why. I can see why, you know, Alonso done it when he was at Leverkusen. He brought Xhaka in. He had a few, you know, older heads to play with, a lot of the youngsters, what he had in and around the squad to help him, because that's what they do. You know, the older players help the coach, the manager, because they can see it, they've been there, they've done it. And I can see why. You know, Danny obviously had a great season last season, very unlucky not to get the call up to the England squad. Jordan, obviously, a freak accident at the World Cup. Yeah. You know, and probably because I think, when you look at Jordan, everyone sort of forgets that he was Liverpool captain, won the title with Liverpool, played all them games for Liverpool, and you don't do that and play at a top level club like that if you're not a top level player. So again, you can see he's got he buys into an environment, he buys into what you want, and as a manager, you can't nothing. You've got nothing but love for that, because you need your players to buy in, and if he's buying into it and they see it, young players go with them lads who've been there and done it, and when he's got the experience of getting over the line in them moments as well, there's nothing better when you're in them. And I think that's where Chelsea have got to, because they've been a bit up and down. They've got real good quality, genuine quality, but then you've been seeing them in games where they just haven't had the knack to sort of see a game out, or what do we do to try and get back into a game, and that's what them lads will bring.
Is it also about setting standards? Well,
exactly that, yeah.
Speak about it from your own personal point of view. When you were a young kid coming through, who was alongside you to just give you the right advice?
To start off with, we had Goodney Burks and Paul Warris, Dean Oldsworth, who was all the old school English, wanted it, enjoyed the night, and then, but, Goodney wasn't, but he
work hard, play hard.
Yeah, but work hard, play hard, you've got to all be together, you're sticking it together, you work your socks off in the training ground, and then we all have a good night out together in them times. Per Francin as well. Then you bring it on what Sam done, gets us into Europe in the first 4 years of his tenure, and you bring in the likes of Ivan Campo, Gary Speed to the club, Yuri Djorkaeff, and then all of a sudden you're looking at European champions, internationals, people who've won Premier Leagues, everything else, and you're going, okay, and that takes you to a new level, and your standards and everything else, and also what they expect of you on the pitch, and what how to do it, and it sort of takes away from the work hard, play hard. It's more work hard to get better and better, and I think that's what it is now. I think there's time and a place for all the play bit, but the working hard and showing your sort of attributes in every day is the biggest thing for me, was when you go in, making sure that as a captain, certainly as a young captain, I had to make sure that I was on it every day, so that every player can't sort of question you and go, oh, hang on a minute, you're not at it today. So because then you can drive the standards, you can then get all the players, you can get all the young players. That's not how we do it here, and then all of a sudden them standards improve, and that's what Xabi Alonso wants. He'll want to go in there knowing that he's got this squad of youth who have got so much quality, but where they've been lacking over the last seasons, and what he's seen, and when he's obviously spoken to the owners of taking the job, he's gone, well, I'm going to need I'm going to leave a lot of experience in and around them, down that spine of the team, and that's what he seems to be going for.
You've been in the game a while, right? How have attitudes from young players changed over that period of time? I'm bringing that up because there's a lot of young lads at Chelsea.
Yeah.
And therefore, they've all come up together. So therefore, they probably all think the same way. They all act the same way. They all behave the same way away from the game and what have you. How important is it to maybe bring someone in from that different generation that goes, hang on a minute, that's not how football should be. It should be like this. So how have attitudes of young lads changed over those years?
Well, I think the biggest thing is probably the social media and everything else. How you can just be so, you can get in touch with them at any point now. I've never been on social media, so I've never known it, but it's incredible now that after games the way they are, you see them posting stuff, all that type of stuff. It's the new generation, it's the new Gen Z, isn't it? And you've got to move with times. I think that it was always going to go that way, Cats, but I think there's always room for time when you're just with the squad, you're with the players, and I think that's where it'll probably change a bit, where Alonso will probably want time where phones are not allowed in certain rooms, and so that they actually talk to each other instead of talking through social media, which a lot I think has changed when I look at it now.
That's just like being a parent, isn't it? It's like me with my kids.
Exactly.
Can you talk to me around this dinner table or what?
And they're watching their iPad.
Yeah, exactly, man.
While they're playing on the phone while eating. I mean, they're so skilled these days, these kids. But yeah, look, I think that's what probably it is. It's like, come on, put that away. We're sitting around the dinner table here when you're there, and let's have a chat. What did you do?
Yeah.
I sat on my PlayStation and played, and I was on with the lads, because it's just changed now, and I think that's the difference. I think it's massively different because of social media.
Okay, away from then the experience, standard setting, what do these two lads in particular, Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck, add to them on the grass, on the pitch, on match day?
Well, I think again, it's the captaincy within Jordan Henderson of what he's done, and knowing the game, seeing. So, is he going to be one who starts week in, week out? I probably wouldn't think so. But the 1-0 up with 30 minutes to go, 20 minutes to go, is he the one who goes on? Then sort of he coaches on the pitch without being a coach. You just sort of become that captain where you understand the game. This is what we need to do to see out the game, and you help them lads with that. You push them to that, or how are we going to work our way back into the game? He's had them experiences. He's been in them moments, at top level, Champions League, international level, Premier League level, winning Premier Leagues. How do you win a Premier League? Because that's ultimately what Chelsea want to do.
Yeah.
They want to get back into amongst contenders of winning Premier Leagues. And you only get that if you set the standards. And, Mo Salah spoke to about it a lot last season, didn't he, about the standards about slipping. And he mentioned Jordan. And Jordan was one of them who was probably driving it from within Liverpool, what was expected to be a Liverpool player. And that's what he'll bring, Jordan. And then I think Danny, since he's gone away from Manchester United, you've seen him sort of, certainly at Brighton, become this, this focal figure who you see all the young lads around them seem to really get on with him and look up to. And you get that by doing it every day on the football pitch, but not only doing that, you do it on the weekend, and that's what Danny done. He scored goals last year, and I think that's why everyone was speaking so glowingly about him, and rightly so. So I think there'll be two really, really good signings for Chelsea, which will help them get to where they want to be, and I think it's a real good U-turn from the people above.
From a Man United point of view, should they be in for Welbeck?
Well, I don't think it would harm them. I think they're probably looking at it financially and thinking it probably wouldn't suit them at the moment. I think that's how I'd see it if I'm looking from out to in. But I don't think Danny Welbeck going back to Man United would certainly harm them. I think it'd help them because, you've got Sesko there who could then, sort of, it takes a little bit of pressure off him in certain games and keeps him fresh in everything else because, he had a good end to the season last year, and I'm looking forward to seeing him this year, actually.
03717 22 3344. That's the telephone number. Get stuck in. If you're a Chelsea fan, is this the right type of experience that you want to see brought in by Xabi Alonso? And if you're a United fan, listen, Danny Welbeck's your boy, isn't he? Do you want him at Chelsea? Are you happy with him being at Chelsea? Or would you prefer him to come back home? 03717 22 3344. We're going to get stuck into that in a moment or two. But as you know, the Commonwealth Games are currently going on as well. And John Cushing is all over it for talkSPORT. What's going on today, mate?
Well, it's 10:17 in the morning, and we've had our first gold medal of the day, and the Scots have beaten the English, which it's gone down very well here in Glasgow. That in the para mixed pairs bowls at the SEC Centre, so a gold medal for Scotland already. The Flower of Scotland will be playing very soon to start day 5 here at the Scotstoun Athletic Stadium, where of course we had a double gold for England last night, a Scottish gold and 2 Jamaican golds and an Australian gold as well. We've got the heptathlon this morning, and world silver medalist from Northern Ireland, Kate O'Connor, who won that silver in the Commonwealth Games 4 years ago as well. She's just been in action in the 110 hurdles. She finished third in her heat, 13:54, so she gets more than 1,000 points for that. A good start for her. Jade O'Dowda of England, also slightly quicker. She was second. Sienna McDonald of Canada, 12:99. That is world class over the 110 hurdles. Anna McCauley and Ellen Barber getting personal bests as well. So a good start so far this morning here at the Athletics. We've got Max Bergen of England in the men's 800 metres to come this morning. The men's and women's 100 metres tonight, and also 15 boxers in action from 12 o'clock today from home nations, and 5 gymnastics finals. The tickets are still available for Glasgow at glasgow2026.com. This is the Commonwealth Games, and it's live across the talkSPORT network.
Listen to that report. He's like a sporting octopus, is John Cushing. He's across every single sport that's going on at the Commonwealth Games. Make sure you stick with us here on talkSPORT for more updates on that throughout the course of the morning. It's Adam Catterall and Kevin Nolan in for Jim White and Simon Jordan on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
don't know if you've seen Simon Jordan's tweets. We know Simon Jordan loves his boxing. He's very knowledgeable on boxing as well. But he wrote a tweet after the fight. A lot of people agreed with him as well. He said, "I'm not having that. Dropped twice, sets the tempo. How's that? Praying a totally different second round. Something not quite right. All designed to rinse maximum amount of money." Firstly, were you aware of that tweet?
Yes, I was, mate. I spoke to Simon about it after, actually.
Okay, well, what did he say? What did you say? How did that conversation pan out?
Well, so the conversation went like he said, like I said live on the live comms, the way that, so if you know as a fighter, it's instinctive. He had Anthony Joshua hurt after 20 seconds. Joshua barely got through the round. He survived. He walked back to the corner on his heels. He walks out for the second round, with the legs still very wary as well, very dodgy as well. And as a fighter, Christian Prenga then instinctively should jump on him and know the history of Anthony Joshua and how it takes him a while to recover, and jump on him and say, right, this is my big opportunity. This is my ticket into the big time. No one knows who I am, but everyone's going to know it's going to be one of the biggest shocks in heavyweight boxing history. And he didn't. It was a very strange,
didn't he?
Tactics, because I think he was actually waiting for that big shot. He was waiting. He saw that Joshua was coming forward and he was making.
Good morning. You listen to talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Kevin Nolan is alongside me in for White and Jordan throughout the course of this week. You're more than welcome to come and join us on 03717 223344. Before we get you on the radio, let's get the main man on, shall we? Football's chief correspondent here at talkSPORT, the one and only Mr. Alex Crook. How are you, mate? You good?
Morning, Crookie.
Yeah, very good, all suited and booted, ready for a trip to glorious Goodwood.
Right, you just wait a minute, right? Yes. Yeah. Look at him. Look at the face on that, right? He's had 5 weeks out in America enjoying himself watching the blooming World Cup. Now he's off to the flipping races. This guy's just on party mode. Look at him.
Where's your hat? Where's your hat, Crookie?
Well, I'm in a box today, but I'm on the champagne.
Mate, look at this.
He's through it.
So the hat's going to come out tomorrow.
Right.
He doesn't share any of these contacts, Kev. Like, he just goes and sorts himself out. Off he's gone.
Oh.
Right.
Let's hope it's a profitable one.
Fingers crossed for you, mate. I'm sure you're going to have a great day. Before you go, let's do a bit of work, shall we? Because we've just been speaking about Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck to Chelsea. What's the latest on this, mate?
Well, I think the Danny Welbeck one is advancing. Certainly on a personal level, player terms pretty much agreed. We reported that last night, so it's just a case of agreeing a transfer fee now with Brighton. Henderson's an interesting one because Chelsea are not the only club interested in Jordan Henderson. He can leave Brentford on a free transfer. I think he fancies a move to Chelsea, but don't completely rule out the likes of Manchester City. It's amazing, isn't it? The veteran players are in high demand this summer. I think all dressing rooms are looking for that little bit of experience, and certainly it's a sea change from Chelsea to bring in the likes of Welbeck, as I say. That will happen, I think, and Henderson potentially. But it's not just about experience. I think it's also about Chelsea bringing in players relatively cheaply, a free transfer in Henderson's case, and then they can sell some of their deadwood, and obviously that's going to help with their PSR.
We were speaking to Daniele Fisichella yesterday about Italian clubs looking for certain signings and what have you. And John Stones came up a couple of times. He was pointing me towards John Stones to Juventus, but has that changed over the last 24 hours? Is it now more likely to be Inter Milan?
Yeah, I think he's agreed a 2-year contract with Inter Milan. I've got to say, I think this is a great move for John Stones. We know that physically his body is cracked under pressure for the last couple of seasons. So the fact that he's going to maybe a slightly less demanding league in Serie A, I think can only be good for him and might help prolong his England career. I'm sure he's got ambitions to be playing at the Euros in a couple of years' time. I actually thought he came in and did a really good job for Thomas Tuchel at the World Cup. So this feels like a no-brainer on all sides. Obviously disappointing that he's leaving the Premier League. There was some talk of Arsenal and Chelsea, but that never really developed. But it's a great move, isn't it, Inter Milan?
What do you reckon of that one?
Yeah, I think. Well, we were here last week when the Chelsea story broke, weren't we, Crook? And I thought that'd be a great move for Chelsea, just to have him around the place. But I think for him personally, I think it'll be brilliant. And yeah, well, he's looking at it probably with the mind and the vision of being involved in 2 years in England, you know.
And obviously European football in there as well for the lad.
Exactly, yeah, of course.
James Trafford's another one from Manchester City. I think a lot of people in the summer have been saying that he probably needs to move away if he wants to get himself first team football. Leeds United, is it looking likely, Crookie? Look at him, right? He's on his holidays. He's gone to Goodwood. All we can see now is a still image of Crookie in a suit.
In his cream jacket.
He's already arrived, is it? But, mate, he's probably quaffing some champagne or something like that. Have we got him back, have we? Oh, he's managed to find a bit of Wi-Fi in between all that champagne, has he? Right, go on then, carry on, mate.
Yeah, I think you're asking me about James Trafford.
I was, yes.
It may have been one that broke when we were on air last week, Kev. So this one's been in the offing. I think I said, and I expected it to happen. 40 leads to get James Trafford. And I think this is, again, a good deal for all concerned because he's not going to get in at Manchester City ahead of Donnarumma. He's got ambitions not just to be in the England squad in 2 years' time. I think he sees himself as potentially England's next number one. So a great move for Trafford and really good business for Leeds.
Mr. Crook, listen, that was absolutely fantastic. The bits that we heard of it. Obviously, your Wi-Fi is struggling at the moment, and we're going to let you get on with your wonderful day at Goodwood, mate. He is right in what he just alluded to. He was what he was alluding to there regarding James Trafford.
Yeah,
I think this is now the key stage of his career, isn't it? Where he's got to go and be an established number one at the very top level if he's going to try and break into that England team.
Exactly, and I think he was obviously. Well, he would have been absolutely gutted when Donnarumma, started circulating. You're thinking they brought him back. He thought he was going to be Man City's number one last year. Probably got promised that, and then all of a sudden, Donnarumma becomes available. Man City, think right, we're taking this lad, and then you sort of found. But he played the cup matches.
Yeah,
was very successful in them moments, and I think now it's time for him to step up because I think there's going to have to be a changing in the guard in the next coming seasons with Jordan Pickford, who's done an unbelievable job at being England's number one, but he needs someone to now sort of push him. Dean Henderson's thereabouts, but I think James Trafford's the one who could finally push him out and take the number one spot from Jordan. But what he's got to do, he's got to go and play week in, week out in the Premier League at the top level and perform. And I've got every faith that he probably will.
From a club point of view, Leeds a good fit for him, do you think?
Yeah, I think fantastic. Great, obviously great city, great fans, great place to play your football. Love playing at Ellen Road. Really, obviously hostile environment. It was one.
Did you thrive it? Did you like it?
I loved it. I loved it there. Yeah, we had a few good wins there, which are always nice as well. But played against some top players, top teams there. Yeah, I think it's a really good environment where he's got to go, but he's got to prove himself, hasn't he? He's got to prove himself, and it's going to be intense. They're not going to let him get away with it because he's James Trafford. He's I think biggest ever signing, so £40 million is going to be massive for him. So he's got to go there and hit the ground running.
Quick one, just before we flip to break. Yeah. What do you make of all this noise with Vinicius Junior and Arsenal?
Yeah, I'm very surprised by it, but you never say never.
Why does it surprise you?
Just because I think he's probably Madrid's biggest sort of star, if you like.
Yeah? Okay.
And I think them taking it away, I can see probably why, because of the Jose Mourinho effect. Whether he wants to be the biggest star as he always does. But yeah, I mean, listen, he'll only improve Arsenal. Let's not kid. He'll only improve them. It's just whether they can get the.
Does he upset the Arsenal dynamic?
Well, that's the biggest thing, isn't he? Because he's a big character, isn't he? And he has a lot to say on social media. He's very outspoken. You know, a lot of the players at Arsenal now very under the radar. Don't really, you don't see them much, and not as outspoken as what Vinicius Junior. So it's something which probably Mikel Arteta will have to have a look at. Is his character? Is he going to upset what is already a really, strong hold of a dressing room, and a real good dressing room? Will that? But you can always have a maverick. We always had a maverick.
Got to always have a maverick. Put bums on seats, they're mavericks, aren't they? 03717 223344. I can see that you want to get involved with the show with the phone lines lighting up. We'll get you on the radio next. Don't be going anywhere.
Good morning, lads. Yes, very, very good. About Joshua.
Go on, mate.
The final weekend, perhaps I didn't even bother to watch it. It's farce, isn't it? And as for him and Fury, I tell you, if they was fighting in my back garden, I'd draw the curtains.
Oh, wow. Oh, come on, man.
Come on, you're better than that.
Are you telling me you wouldn't even have a peek through those curtains? Just a little look?
You draw the curtains.
I'd say it was them two idiots out there and close them tight. I can't be doing with it. Anthony Joshua, he's done what he's done, but let's face it, he's no world beater, is he? He went down like a pot of jelly against that little fat Mexican. And, whenever he steps up, he won the title against the worst champion ever in Charles Martin. Now, come on, he fought an aging Klitschko, right? Whenever he steps up, he gets knocked out by Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois gets scored. I went to see Joshua against the champion, what's his name, Usyk, at White Hart Lane. And Usyk absolutely schooled him. And, we're looking at two fights.
But Usyk does that with everyone, Al. Usyk is the best of this generation. He does that with everybody. Yeah. Anthony Joshua's been in the most amount of heavyweight world title fights of this generation, mate.
Yes, but poor world title fights.
But he can only do what's put in front of him. I mean, this generation hasn't been the generation of the 1990s or the 1970s, has it?
No, you're 100% right. He can only do what's put in front of him. They put Tyson Fury in front of him 7-8 years ago, and Eddie Hearn turned it down, didn't want to know.
talkSPORT News.
Good morning. With your latest news headlines, I'm Emma Smith. Andy Burnham wants hard hats to be valued as much as graduation caps when school qualifications in England get a shake-up in 2 years' time.
We've had a system built for too long around the university route, and it sends a message to some young people that they're some kind of second-class citizens, and it's just not right. They need an education system that works for them as well.
He plans to prioritise vocational education as the first choice for children beginning their GCSEs. The PM says practical skills can help tackle the 1 million young people currently not in work or education. 40 years after estate agent Susie Lamplugh vanished, detectives say the case could become inactive within a year unless there's a major new lead. The 25-year-old disappeared in 1986. A prime suspect was never charged and has since died. The Met is looking into a social media post shared by Green Party leader Zach Polansky. It showed a man wearing a T-shirt with a guillotine on it, alongside the words, "Making plans for Nigel." Reform's Robert Jenrick says it's right. People are disgusted by it.
There's such appalling hypocrisy in the things that people on the left say, inciting violence, making terrible, distasteful comparisons.
And former Top Gear presenter Richard Hammond's been fined £999 after being caught speeding twice in the space of 3 weeks. It happened in Herefordshire last December.
talkSPORT sports headlines with Bostik. For professional grade sealants with easy application and a perfect finish, pros trust Bostik.
Zinedine Zidane is the new head coach of the French national team, and age is just a number to Xabi Alonso. Charlie has more at 11.
The 2026 Commonwealth Games live on talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2.
Here comes Josh Kerr!
3,000 athletes from 74 countries compete for 215 medals across 10 days.
Goodness me!
Catterall, former West Ham midfielder, Kevin Nolan alongside me as well. And we're taking your calls on 03717 223344. I suppose the big story this morning is the change of attitude towards transfers from Chelsea, heading towards Danny Welbeck and heading towards Jordan Henderson, bringing in that experience for the new season. There's a few other clubs doing a very, very similar thing. Get in contact with the show if you've got a thought on it, or 03717 223344. Terry's a Chelsea fan. Terry, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good. Hello, Adam. Hello, Kevin.
Hey, mate, you all right?
I've got some thoughts on this. I think Danny Welbeck could be a fantastic signing. I think he seems to have got better with age, and he scored a lot of goals against Chelsea. Sometimes he come on.
Is that why you bought him? Is that the crack he says? Stop him scoring against us. We're going to buy him.
I want to see him score a few for us. That's my idea on this, because he scored a lot of goals, especially maybe even back in his Man United days. Sometimes he'd come on late for Brighton, and I'm sitting there in the stand thinking he's going to score, and he does. And so I think potentially this is a really savvy signing. He seems fit as ever. I think he's quite underrated. I see him score a goal a few years ago. It was like a scissor kick from the edge of the area. It was unbelievable. And so I've always looked at him and thought, you know what, I wouldn't mind him up front for us. And if he signs, I think it's fantastic.
Even at this stage of his career, Terry?
Yeah, he's still fit. He looks after himself.
Okay.
He could get Chelsea might sign him for a year or two, give him a option of a second year.
Okay.
He may not play every week. He may come off the bench, but I think a potentially very good signing.
Okay, that's on the grass. I mean, Kev was speaking a little earlier on about experience. You've been watching this team for a long period of time, and over the last couple of years, it's a lot of young lads out there, isn't it? How much are you desperate for experience on the pitch?
Yeah, I think I'm glad we're going to sign a bit more experience. There's talk of Henderson coming in. He could be a good player as well in around the club. I just think we've been signing lots of young kids to settle on in the future. I just think now they're having a bit of a change of attitude with the new manager, bringing in a bit more experience to complement the young players we've got, and I think it could work well.
What are you expecting this season, mate?
I'm quietly confident, but I say that every year. Look what happened last season. I mean, I go home and away. I'm quietly confident. And do you know what? I'll take a year without European football. It saved me a few quid. And, yeah, I'm happy. Be like Man United. Well, obviously go further in the cup runs than they did. Have more than 40, 41 games, 50-odd games, with a couple of domestics maybe. I'll take this season out of Europe.
But from a change of attitude when you're looking at the club, mate, it must obviously give you a little bit of confidence coming into the new season that it seems like the guys at the top are now listening to the guy in the dugout, which I think is really, really important. In the past, it seems to be, this is our way, do this, coach these lads and get it cracking. Whereas it seems, since Xabi's come in, they've listened to him and they're going in a different direction.
Yeah, and also it seems like with this fella McPhee, I mean, I've heard of him a little bit about him, but they brought that chap in. And also I'm getting the impression, I felt as if Cole Palmer, as well as having a lot of injuries last season, he kept in rooms, he might not be happy. I've not heard none of that throughout the summer.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I was disappointed he wasn't picked in the squad, but at least hopefully now he's had a good rest during the summer. He's probably buzzing that his mate Morgan Rogers has signed, and hopefully they can play together. And I'm looking forward to the season.
Top man. So, thank you very much for getting involved with the show. What do you make of that, by the way? You just brought up McPhee there, coming in from Aston Villa, going into Chelsea. He's the free kick specialist, right? He obviously did a stint in the World Cup with Portugal. Has this always been a thing? Just specifically, I'm a set-piece coach. That's
I mean, look, we all go into detail with it. You know, I've done a lot of it. Learned off one of the best, to be fair, in Paul Nevin, who's just gone out to work with Ange Postecoglou in how he sort of broke it down and everything else. And you work with your analyst, and you know, when you get time on the football pitch, it helped. And we were one of the top at West Ham when we were coaching there, and David, would always be on top of you, and come in, okay, show me what you've got. So we'd try and break it all down for him so that he could see it, and then he'd pick what he thought.
But would that be your specific singular role?
No, of course not. No. But now these clubs have just a specific role for the set piece coach. But no, it's not only just that. No. We obviously were there to support David in all ways, and he wanted us to do that sort of the part of it. And when Nev left, I was the one who sort of worked with David on them bits, as well as helping with the day-to-day training. But they do have now a sort of set piece specific coach, which.
It's a bit NFL, isn't it? Like specialist teams.
Yeah.
That's the next gig, Kev. That's it, mate. Let's go down that route.
I find it, quite strange, really, that you need a specific one. I think that coaches should be able to, by the time, to be able to put it into a session and a practice to be able to do it. But some people work it different, and I think now it's such a big part of the game, mate. It's massive the way everything is.
Well, look at Arsenal, look at Villa last year. They got 29 goals from set pieces last year, pair of them. Best in Europe.
Exactly, and I think that's why, Xabi Alonso decided that, that's what he wants his team. And what it will do is, it'll give these young lads a specific instruction of how they want to defend and what they need to do in an attack and everything else. And it'll help them. It will help them, certainly.
Mate. Just Sunday League it. Put it in the mixer and head the thing when it comes in.
Old school. I used to say, get it in the mixer, put it on that 6-yard box and get everyone going out.
There you go, lad. Jason, morning. How are you, pal?
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Yes, good. Listen, you're coming at this from a different angle, aren't you? You're a United fan. I asked the question a little earlier on. How are you feeling about this Welbeck to Chelsea thing? Would you take him back at United?
100%. Absolutely, yeah. He's a consummate professional. He really looks after himself, keeps himself fit. The Chelsea lad who were just on was saying how he's improving with age. He's like a fine wine. I think we need the experience, having lost Cass. I think we get him at the right price. It wouldn't be expensive from a wages point of view. Why not?
So what is it with United? Why are they acting on it? He's your boy. Surely that emotional thing you can pull on that thread and get him back up north.
You would think so, wouldn't you? He came through the youth ranks, so you'd think it'd be a natural process for him to come back. But obviously, Michael Carrick's got his own plans, and perhaps he doesn't see him as part of them plans, which is a shame. But I think you'll find the consensus with the United fans is that we'd take him. He's one of our boys, and we'd love to have him back.
You know he's going to score against you this season, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He did, didn't he? Yeah. Listen, can I just say quickly?
Yeah.
Lord Jordan, absolutely spot on. That AJ fight was fixed.
Come on, don't do this, right? He's not here, right? Look at you, you've jumped straight in there to back him up. Why? Tell me why you think it was fixed.
Right, yeah, this is dead easy because I did watch it. AJ, unfortunately, he's got the weakest chin in boxing now. He didn't used to have, but it's gone. He clocked him with nothing, with Prenger, right? Didn't hardly caught him, he went down. Then he got him with a standing 8 count, so he was gone. His legs were like a baby giraffe. Honestly, he was gone.
Yeah.
What would you do? I do boxing. I do it twice a week, and I've had white collar fights, that kind of thing. I'd have been straight in that person's face because you've got him.
Right.
I think somebody had a word with Prenger and said, you cannot finish him off. You're not allowed to, because if they do, the big payday following it, and this is what Jordan said. Excuse me, and I said this before he heard Jordan's comments. Quite simply, somebody said we cannot have that fight against our at risk. It's a big money spinner because it's going to be.
Jason, what are you saying? In between rounds, someone said all that to him in between rounds.
Definitely.
Mate, there's no definite about it. It didn't happen. Listen, let me put it into context for you, right? Do you know what World Cup semi-final when England played Argentina?
Yeah.
Was that game fixed?
No.
Right. So what's the difference? Because England were in the ascendancy. They were winning. It was in their hands. They chose to go in a different direction and they fluffed it. Could Prenger have done the same thing?
I'm going to answer that with a question back. Is football like boxing? Are they similar?
Yeah, mate. Have you seen FIFA? Is that what you're referring to?
I think Infantino was in the crowd.
You reckon he's got on the dog to Thomas Tuchel and gone, listen, mate, I need Messi in that final, sunshine. Do me a favour and send them backwards. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think Infantino had a word with Prenger.
Jez, top man. See you in a bit, mate. Thank you very much. Keep your calls coming. 03717 22 33 44. But what he's referring to regarding the Danny Welbeck thing, I think it would be actually a good thing to get him back at Manchester United, because you alluded to before, they've got some young lads up there. They're just coming through. And I think, one, you can learn from Welbeck off the pitch, but also in them key moments, he's got this knack of being able to sniff out a mad goal, and United might need that at certain points this season.
Certainly, yeah, and they're going to need the strength and depth as well after getting back into Europe and having European football. It's going to be a bit different, and he's had all that. He knows all that. He's experienced all that. So again, just the help of that and being able to lead the line, maybe on a Wednesday night for Sesko to play on the Saturday, as I said, because the way it's the difficulty of being in the Premier League and mentally and physically having to do it day in, day out, and week in, week out is tough. So he will certainly be a massive positive for Manchester United. But again, I think it'd probably be more that they're looking at it thinking, does the financials of it all work? Because although they've got the financial side between Chelsea and Welbeck done, there's still no sign of how much Brighton want for him.
Yeah. All that will come out in the wash, no doubt, over the next 24 hours. We're going to be speaking a little bit about Zinedine Zidane becoming the French national coach with Julien Laurent. That's coming next here on talkSPORT.
Junior situation's interesting, because I think when it came out of the weekend that Arsenal were keen, we all thought, well, how can they do that deal? He's on 400 grand a week. He'd smash Arsenal's pay structure. Yeah. Real Madrid, even though he's stalling on signing a new contract, are going to want a six-figure sum. But if they signed Diamonde, as looks likely, how do the two fit into the same team? And I think what's really interesting here, and Ben Jacobs, I think, has mentioned this a couple of times, they've got the same agent, Vinicius Junior and Yan Diamonde. So would his agency take Diamonde to Real Madrid knowing that he's going to compete with Vinicius Junior? I don't think Vinicius Junior to Arsenal is as fanciful as maybe it first appeared.
Now, when you look at Arsenal, they probably would. They've just got rid of Trossard.
Yeah, Trossard's gone.
So that's a space need, and they've only got Martinelli on that left-hand side. So they do need somebody else. Who is that person that's going to be able to fill in that space for them? Because there's not a large selection around the world, is there, Quickie?
No, I thought it would be Morgan Rogers, to be honest. I thought that deal would get done. I know he met Mikel Arteta even before jetting out to the World Cup, and Arteta had made him a top target, but fair play, Chelsea came in and gazumped them. I'm not sure Arsenal would have paid £117 million anyway, but clearly they have got a hole in the squad. As you say, they've let Trossard go for a relatively modest sum, really, £17 million for a player who I think scored some key goals, particularly last season. Seems a little bit on the cheap side, but I think they're going to do something sensational, and it could well be that Vinicius Junior is the man, because you're right, there's not an endless list, is there?
Good morning. You're listening to White and Jordan on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall and Kevin Nolan in for the boys who are on their holiday at the moment. Don't worry, they'll be back for the start of the brand spanking new season. Lots going on in the world of football. Let's pick out who's been the real deal this week with Selco Builders Warehouse.
The Real Deal on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. For the latest special offers, pick up this month's Real Deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
And that real deal is Zizou. Zinedine Zidane is the new French national coach. To talk about that a little bit further with myself and Kevin is Julien Laurent. Julien, I've spoken to you for a bit, mate. How are you? You well?
Hello, boys. Very good. And you?
Yes, very well
good,
indeed.
thanks, mate.
Now, listen, Italy are having a bit of a nightmare getting a national coach in. I think they've interviewed about 25 different fellas. The French guys didn't mess about, did they? They went straight for Zizou. Talk me through it, pal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've known since maybe March now that it was going to be him. The first contact were in February because we knew then that Deschamps would step down after the World Cup, whether he won it or not. So we had a bit of time to prepare for Zidane to arrive, to get excited. I think everybody was very excited for the day. Being today, where it was officially announced, even if it was obviously not a secret, and did his first press conference in his lovely suit, looking really, really nice, with all the charm that he's always had. And I think Deschamps was great, lasted 14 years, 14 great years with, titles, a lot of highs, a few lows, but not that many really. And now it's time for a new era, and who better really than one of the biggest legends of French football history in Zinedine Zidane to take over.
Julian, it's absolutely mad to think that he hasn't been in management for 5 years since he left Real Madrid. And when you look at that tenure of only managing Real Madrid, it was absolutely ridiculous. The guy obviously commands a ridiculous amount of respect. When you think of the team that he had at Real Madrid, there's some egos in that room, weren't there? Is that why they've gone with him? Because they think that he can manage the egos? And that's me trying to place that nicely for some of the lads that are in this French national side?
Yeah, I think it's part of it. The relationship that he creates and that he builds with his dressing room, with his players. Obviously, as you said, the player that he was, he walks in, even if he was not a player or the player he was before, he's got so much aura, charisma. He walks into any room, then you kind of stop and you wait for him to talk, and he doesn't talk too much, he doesn't talk too loud either. If you add to that the player that he was and the legend that he's become on the pitch, it's inevitable that he will have that respect from the fans, from us, the media, from the players. I mean, how many times Michael Olise or Kylian Mbappe have said that they grew up watching him on tapes and on YouTube a bit later, and everything that he did at his time with the national team or with Real Madrid or with Juventus, Bordeaux, all the clubs that he was at and all the games that he played. So naturally that was it. I think really to succeed somebody like Deschamps, there were not that many candidates anyway. You needed someone big, like a big name like him. And so I think he makes sense. And also for his point of view, he said in the press conference this morning that in the 5 years since he left Real Madrid, the second stint, he had a lot of offers from loads of big clubs in Europe, but he always said no because the only thing he wanted was the national team. Because he said, outside of Real Madrid, the only thing that made me really dream as a coach was the national team.
Yeah, I think that was the worst kept secret, Julian, that he was going to replace him. What do you think he's going to give differently what Didier hasn't been able to produce over the last couple?
That's a great question, Kev. He said this morning that it would be very similar to what we saw at Real Madrid. He said, I was a number 10. I've lived in Spain for 25 years with their mentality and the style of football that they like. So I want to attack. I want to score goals. This is what my team is going to do. So let's see. It can be a bit more pragmatic than just, hey, let's go all forward and let's outscore the opposition. He's smarter than that, obviously, and international football is different. But yeah, we all don't really know what to expect yet, what kind of system, with what players. But I think if there's one kind of football that you would think Zidane would play with his team, would be a more attacking style, really.
What are the press like with the national manager? I mean, we're a nightmare over here, mate. So what do you look like with your national manager?
I mean, it depends. If you're Raymond Domenech and the car crash that was for far too long, then we can be very tough. If it's Laurent Blanc and you were the player that he was, even if things were not great for his 2 years, we were a bit in between. Deschamps was Deschamps, another legend, and things were so good and so positive, certainly in terms of result. The football that he played, maybe not everybody's cup of tea, a bit too defensive for my liking, but he's still Deschamps. Zidane, we will love him. We will give him a good honeymoon period for sure. He's got 4 games to come between September and October, Turkey, Belgium, Italy, those kind of games. So we will see, but he will get good press for quite a while, and then the result will talk. But it was not like as big as Klopp in terms of, hey, don't bother me, don't do this, don't do that. It was, it was more Zidane-esque, really. But everybody loves him. Everybody's so excited.
He's got some players to work with, Julian, hasn't he? You know, when you look back to the great sides of '98 and a little bit after that as well, this lot are as close as you've had since that period of time. You would think that they're with this man at the helm, you've got a real good opportunity to go well at the Euros and then obviously onto the World Cup in 4 years' time.
Yeah, you're right. This is the 4-year cycle, really, until the next World Cup. It's funny because his first meeting with the head of the French FA, he said, don't worry, President, I know how to win. And I think this is it. This is a great generation again. Deschamps took one to the 2018 World Cup, but then came up short in the last World Cup, in the previous one, at the Euros 2016, those kind of, at the Euro 2024, even in the semis. Zidane wants to get even more success more regularly. I don't know if he will be able to, but certainly he has the generation, the players. There's some youngster like Krupi Jr. that we know well in England, for example, or Ekitike, who are not at the World Cup. We can even add more value to this squad. So he's got great players to work with. He's very excited. And again, the pitch now will show us what kind of job he can do.
Look at how happy you are, mate. Smiling away there. Look at him, buzzing for it.
It's good. He's so excited.
Julian, you're a legend. Thank you very much for being on the show, mate. Much appreciated.
Thanks,
Thank
Julian.
you, boys. Have a great show. Cheers.
Top man. Just a quick one before we head towards the news. How different would you imagine international management to club management to be when I'm talking about the work ethic? Because you're there every single day in clubs, aren't you?
I've done it, because we set in and we've done the 20s, and it is so much different because it's just so intense for them 10 days, what you have to play is, and you've got to work out how you can sort of use that time and get it. But he's been out the game for 5 years, and he's only wanted one job. So he would have been looking around, going out, speaking to people. What will he do? He's not going to be sitting twiddling his thumbs. He will know and see what he needs to do. How will my 10-day practices be the best to make sure that I'm getting the best out of players and the most out of players? I think the biggest thing, what you'll see, is that they'll play with a lot more freedom up on the top of the pitch, a bit like what he did and what you see in his Real Madrid teams play like. So
got some lads to be able to do that, aren't they?
Exactly, and some unbelievable quality. I think the biggest thing is that where they probably fall down a bit is probably at the back. So that's where he'll probably have to do a lot of it. And I know that there was talk about him bringing Fabian Barthez and then a couple of other winners who've been there with him. So. Really excited. I'm just gutted to France.
Yeah. They're one of the top 4 sides in the world, and then they go and put Zidane in charge of this amazing attacking talent. That was our pick of the week with Real Deal with Selco Builders Warehouse. For your latest special offers, pick up this month's Real Deals in branch or view online at selcobw.com.
The Real Deal on talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's Real Deals at selcobw.com.
Now, rule changes for the new season. Goalkeeper timeouts. Yeah, you've seen them going down, trying to stall a little bit of time to get a little bit of a tactical chat between managers and players and all that type of stuff. Well, it's changing a little bit into the new season. We'll explain it all for you after the news.
I've read this a couple of times now. I can't help but think when he comes up with lines about people criticising the refereeing decisions and puts lines in his quotes such as "I'm sorry you missed it all," I can't help but think there's a little dig towards the head of UEFA there, Alexander Ceferin.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, Ceferin decided to stay away from the World Cup final, which was quite unprecedented. FIFA were briefing, actually, that was a pre-planned decision, but the message coming out of UEFA very much was that it was a protest by their president. Actually, I picked out a couple of screenshots, and he does talk about some of the refereeing decisions and says it's curious the same countries employing these practices are the ones criticising about the decision to overturn Flo Balogun's red card, which for me was probably the most shameful moment of this World Cup. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite, Andy. You were there. Troy obviously lives out in the States. I had a wonderful 5.5 weeks. I thought it was a brilliant tournament. I thought the American hospitality was terrific. But let's not pretend it was perfect. He also talks about bringing two countries at war together, uniting two countries at war, says Iran entered the United States without incident or conflict.
Sport.
With your sports headlines, I'm Charlie Pritchard. Good morning. Zinedine Zidane is the new head coach of France. He replaces France's longest-serving manager, Didier Deschamps, on a 4-year deal starting from August 1st. Zidane has been out of management since leaving Real Madrid for a second time in 2021. Meanwhile, Roberto Mancini is the frontrunner to return as Italy's new head coach. Italian Football Federation President Giovanni Malago is leading the search following the exit of Paolo Maldini as technical director. Now, experience is the key word for Xabi Alonso at Chelsea, with Danny Welbeck agreeing personal terms. Jordan Henderson appears to be close behind. talkSPORT's Henry Winter thinks this is as much an off-the-pitch appointment as on it.
There will be an element of that with the two of them in the background, and you might see them popping up in the academy, taking some of the younger training sessions as part of their coaching experience. Because with all that experience, you want them to stay in the game.
Meanwhile, Arsenal remain interested in a move for Vinicius Jr., but football agent Sky Andrew thinks this is all a ploy for Vinny to get better terms at Real Madrid.
This looks like he's trying to get a better deal at Real Madrid. And some fans will say, well, how much money do you want to earn? But at that level, it's all relative. These guys are earning 300-400 grand a week. If they can get $500,000, they're going to go for it.
Elsewhere, is this the end of competitive swimming for Adam Ramsey-Peaty? Ex-British swimmer Mark Foster told talkSPORT no chance.
His target is LA in 2 years' time. That is the target. He's not going to quit before LA. There's absolutely no way, because that's what he said he wants to do, and that's what he wants to do. And he's not lost the love for the sport.
And British rugby champions Northampton will host Newcastle Red Bulls on the opening day of the new Prem season. Exeter Chiefs will start their campaign in September against Gloucester at home. There's more at talksport.com.
talkSPORT News.
Andy Burnham says he's on a mission to cut the number of young people not in education, employment or training with a major school shake-up. And police say they're conducting inquiries into an image shared on Instagram by the Green Party leader. Emma has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. For a limited time only, get 10% off 2 or more selected premium tyres in our big summer sale. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
Outbreaks of rain continue across northern areas, with some heavy bursts possible in Northern Ireland and Western Scotland. Elsewhere, it stays dry with some sunny spells.
Good morning. You're listening to White and Jordan on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall, in for Jim White, in for Simon Jordan. It's Kevin Nolan. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, mate. You've got to go full Simon Jordan on us this morning.
I haven't got the intellect of Simon.
You have. Come on. Don't do yourself down.
Not that far. Maybe in football and everything else in sport, but yeah.
There you go. Listen, the phone lines are open. You're more than welcome to come and join us. 03717 223344. Talking about all things in the transfer window, with Chelsea going for a little bit more experience in Danny Welbeck and Jordan Henderson. The phone lines are still open on that. United fans, would you rather have Welbeck back at your place? Do you need him at your place? 03717 223344 on that. Right now, though, rule change. At the start of every season, there's always something that comes in for us to discuss ahead of the new Premier League season. And there's a trial looking ahead to goalkeeper tactical timeouts.
I like this, mate.
Do you?
I like this, yeah.
Having
been a manager and seeing like teams actually do a 60-minute mark, they always just throw someone down. You watch in the Premier League, there's a lot of them now. I quite like this one, I must admit.
Does it wind you up?
It wound me up. Because then you just see the players running over right away to sort of get through that 15 minutes or whatever. And listen, don't get me wrong, when you're winning 1-0, 10 minutes to go, I've got a wink to you.
You know what to do.
Your keeper goes down all of a sudden. So I think this will speed the game up again and get it back to where it was, because sometimes there's just a little bit too much...
Housery, I think is the word that you're looking for, mate. Housery.
I don't know what goes before.
We were in the pub for a second there, weren't you? You were about to do it.
Yeah.
Right. For those that don't know too much about this, it is the facts and figures in and around this trial, right? So this season, English football will implement a trial to try and eradicate the goalkeeper tactical timeout. The PGMO has settled on the deterrent being that a team will have to remove an outfield player from the pitch. If a referee signals that the physio can come on to treat a goalkeeper, that team's coach will have 10 seconds to nominate another player to leave the pitch for 1 minute after players restarted, telling the fourth official of their choice. If no player has been selected within 10 seconds, the captain must leave the field. And the first game to trial this will be Tranmere Rochdale on Saturday in the Carabao Cup preliminary. Now, these tactical timeouts, right? We've seen it before. I mean, I watched the game last year. I think it was Donnarumma that I was watching, and he just went down. Nobody was anywhere near him. Gone down, pulled my hamstring or whatever it was. He hadn't pulled his hamstring, but everybody runs over to the sideline and whatever, and the game stops for a good couple of minutes and nothing happens off the back of it. Now, that is obvious. That's an obvious, right, we're taking a tactical timeout in this moment. But what about if goalkeeper is genuinely injured in a moment? Like he's at 50-50 with his striker. Striker's gone in on him, he's injured him and what have you, and he's actually hurt. Do you still have to take a boy off?
Well, I think that's the difference, isn't it? I think that the difference is that if you have a clash of heads or a clash of a goalkeeper with a striker, I think then, common sense has got to come and prevail in that.
Is there any common sense in football, mate? Is there?
I'm not too sure. I don't want to give the referees that much because I might be back in the game soon, Kat, you know what I mean? So, no, listen, and I think you've got to see it for what it is. But if a goalkeeper, as a lot of them do, they catch the ball all of a sudden, as you just said, Donnarumma, and no one around them just goes down. I think that's when the moment's got to be, well, if you're going to go down, you're going to take that. We're going to take the decision to remove one of your players for a minute, and I think that's why it's probably a good rule change.
Well, I'm a man that always looks to get round them rules, so I'm going to throw some things your way in a minute, okay? But first, Dermot Gallagher, ex-Premier League referee, was...
he loves a shout, doesn't he, Dermot?
Well, he was talking about the laws of this on the Sports Bar last night. Take a listen.
It's not the time, it's the breaking up play, isn't it? Because it normally happens towards the end of the game. I mean, you played, you're playing for Liverpool in Champions League, you're playing, say, AC Milan, and suddenly they decide to break up play by players going down injured. That stops your momentum. And inevitably, they may be a goal in front, so they're hanging on for dear life. And that's how they break up play, isn't it? And I think that was the idea isn't they really want to take a player off for a minute? They want to stop the cases where, as I said, I don't want to pick on Donnarumma, but the case where Farke said, he's not injured. He's done that deliberately to break up play.
He's picked the same thing that I picked up on with the Donnarumma thing. Right. Now, they're the rules of it, and that's what's actually trying... Everybody knows that. They're basically trying to gain a little bit of a moment so the manager can speak to the players for different instruction, all right? Now, it says here, goalkeeper tactical timeout. What's to stop these teams now saying, right, centre forward now, it's your turn, you're up, we've got away with it for a couple of years with goalies. Now, when we need you, you just go down for a bit and we'll get that sorted. I know that he would have to come off anyway.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference?
Well, I think that's probably what you might see. You're probably, and coaches, we sit there and we'll talk about it. I'm not going to deny that. If you're in that moment, you're under a bit of pressure. What Dermot was saying, that's why they've come into it, and that's why they're sort of clamping down on it, because it's come into, you're 1-0 up, 5 minutes to go. Goalkeeper's got it, he can go down. All of a sudden, it just breaks that play. If they've got the momentum, they're putting crosses in your box. You're trying to just stop their flow and their momentum, get the ball back, kick the ball back, get the ball back in their half time, play their half for the last 5 minutes, and there'll be nothing to stop a centre forward going down with a sort of head injury. Got to stop the game. that's where it's become really important now that referees have sort of on everything, because a lot of people go down and now when you'll see them holding the face or holding the head because they want the game stopped. And
everybody's going to take off the centre forward, aren't they?
Yeah,
surely.
exactly.
You're not going to go, I'll tell you what, we'll run a risk here, we'll take centre back off.
No, exactly.
You're not going to do that.
And I think that's where you'll get to. But it's the risk then of going down to 10 men, isn't it? Knowing that someone's definitely going off. The reason why the goalkeeper went off, because the goalkeeper couldn't physically be removed.
I think they should do that. Goalie off, give the gloves to the centre forward for a minute and see what happens.
Yeah. Well, I certainly stop it all. Then,
yeah.
But no, look, I can see why they've done it, and as I said, I really like the rule. I I think it'll be better for football in the long run. But yeah, it's not going to stop it because it's been going on for years and years.
I was going to ask you that. Is this a new thing?
No, it's not a new thing. It's just different because the goalkeeper can't physically be removed from the pitch, and every other player was removed when they go down now injured. That's why the goalkeepers are taking the flak for it. Because it never used to be. People used to run on, used to stay on.
Yeah,
we're saying, a few years back, and then then they changed the rule. I think if the person got yellow carded, he stayed on the pitch. So it was like it all started getting a little bit messy. But then everybody knew that if the goalkeeper goes down, well, no one goes off the pitch. So that's why they used that. So now the tactic is, well, if the goalkeeper goes down, you'd still lose down. So that's why it is. So we'll stop it. We'll stop it.
Here's one for you, right? Ryan's texted this in and he's just triggered off my thought process here. Because one of the stipulations here, if no player has been selected within 10 seconds, the captain must leave the field.
What if it's the goalkeeper?
Yeah. Hugo Lloris used to be the captain, didn't he, at Spurs? What if it's him?
He'll be the vice captain. They will have to name a vice captain on the day. And he'll be the player who's on the pitch who'll have to go off. And if he gets subbed off, the vice captain gets subbed off for someone else.
Mate, he's going wild now, isn't it? Just stop cheating. Just stop. Just stop wasting time. Just get on with the game of football.
It's all part and parcel. It's not called cheating.
Mate, the dark arts. Is that what you're doing? Well, I mean, we referred to it before about the housery of football, the dark arts of football.
Arsenal are one of the ways for it.
Of this particular process.
Breaking it down. You see how long they take for some, when they go 1-0 up and then they take it for the set piece and everything else, and how long they take in setting it up and everything else. You watch. I bet you they're probably one of the longest to take set
I'm going to have my stopwatch out this season, aren't I? I mean, time
Villa won't be too far behind them because they're setting it up. Listen, they're doing a really good job of what they're doing, but they're up in the game. They're trying to break play. They've got a set piece, and then all of a sudden they're taking it. You see them, all of them getting around the ball, all have a little discussion. Yeah, this is what we're doing, and then they all will go off, and then all the movements start and everything else. So, yeah.
Did you not do this when you were a player, Kevin? No, was this not?
No comment. We were the best at Bolton, weren't we?
Mate,
yeah.
Mate, absolutely.
We were very good as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But like you say, it is part of the game.
Yeah, of course it is.
But it's frustrating from I imagine it's incredibly frustrating from an opposing manager and opposing player point of view. But it's incredibly frustrating from a fan point of view as well, because nobody wants stop starts. The beautiful thing about the game is that it's free flowing.
Yeah, and that's what we want. And I think this is why it is a good rule change for me, because it will speed everything up. I think the throw-ins now where you've got I think it was 7 seconds winning or 10 seconds or so.
I love that in the World Cup when the referee's actually doing the full countdown on people.
But it's good because it gets the ball back in play, because that at times can take a long time. People use that as again, another little bit of housery in the game. So all them little bit of rule change will get the ball back in play a lot quicker. And I think it's got to work with the set pieces as well. As soon as the ball's put down, you've got so long before the ball's got to be played. So, interesting.
I think what we should do, mate, I know that this is not something that's definitely going to be celebrated with the people that listen to the show. Do you know, like at the start of every single World Cup game when they have a full countdown to the game starting? I reckon every time the ball goes out,
you can't count down.
Yeah. Tannoy,
imagine.
Kick the Tannoy in. 7,
you just
6.
wanted to free throw, and now you're going back to we want it like the American. No,
let's go.
Don't bring that in.
Full NFL, mate. Let's do it. By the way, I'm only messing. Don't clip that up and do me later on. All right. Let's have a little bit of a nosy in at the Commonwealth Games, shall we? Because John Cushing's right across everything that's happening this morning. There's a lot of sports going on. John, what's the latest, mate?
There is Charlotte Henrik of Wales, Lavia Nielsen of England and Nicole Yegan of Scotland all into the semis of the women's 400 metres here at the Scotstoun Stadium. Lavia is a double Olympic medalist. She's just told me she's been battling with a hamstring injury, but she is pleased to be back in those semis on Thursday. 19-year-old Henrik told me she hopes she's done her Welsh grandparents proud through her tears. I don't like making athletes cry, but she was very emotional. Well done to her. Now, in the heptathlon, we're on to the second event, the high jump, and silver medalist from 4 years ago for Northern Ireland, Kate O'Connor, who's a world silver medalist now after the 100 hurdles. She's in third place. That was her first race of the season. England's Jade O'Dowda is second after her run of 13.50. Canada's Sienna McDonald leads the second event as the high jump, as I say, is now underway. In the swimming pool right across the city at Tollcross, Max Litchfield of England, third fastest into the 400 metre IM final tonight. New Zealand's Lewis Clareburt, who's already won a gold medal, he is in that final fastest. And 16-year-old Amelie Smith from England, third fastest into the women's 200 metre individual medley final tonight. Aussie Jennifer Forrester is the fastest though. She's won 2 golds already. We've had a gold for Scotland, silver for England and bronze for Wales in the mixed para pairs already this morning in the bowls, the men's singles gold final this morning. And if you fancy it, there are tickets still available. Glasgow2026.com. This is the Commonwealth Games and it's live across the talkSPORT network.
Top man, John, thank you very much for that. Carl Frampton's going to be on the show in a moment, talking about what happened at the weekend out in Saudi Arabia with Anthony Joshua. You are listening to White and Jordan with me, Adam Catterall, and Kevin Nolan with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
Vinicius Jr. I'll read this from the Telegraph Sport, their sports pull-out this morning. Dom King writes, Arsenal prepared to offer Brazilian forward Vini Jr. the biggest contract in the club's history as they plot to outline their soaring ambition. He currently commands a weekly salary, 400,000 euros a week at Madrid, but Arsenal would look to improve that to maximise their chances of pulling off an audacious coup. It kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it, boys, on Saturday afternoon. He's got a year left on his deal at Real Madrid. Arsenal exploring the possibility, Troy, of signing Vinny Jr. Is it going to happen? And if it does happen, where does this rank in Premier League history in terms of biggest coups for the Premier League, not just Arsenal?
If it did happen, it would be amazing for the Premier League to have a superstar on that level in terms of global appeal, blah, 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 all that stuff. I don't like it.
Why?
I don't like it. I don't think it suits the way that Arsenal play. I don't think his personality suits Arteta.
What do you mean his personality?
I think he's a massive diva in regard to like what he wants, what he needs. And I don't think he would buy into the collective. And now that would be something new for Arteta to have to deal with, right? Because he's all about the group. So how do you have Saka on one side, who's the captain, has done everything right, and then you bring in this guy and go, oh, by the way, everyone, give him the ball. And you have to keep giving him the ball. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't think it helps us.
Boxing update on talkSPORT with DAZN, the global home of boxing. Sign up now at dazn.com/boxing.
Corner. Yes, it has. Welcome to it. It is mid-mornings on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Kevin Nolan is alongside me. Saturday night, live from Dublin. Pierce O'Leary and Mark Chamberlain are going at it at the 3 Arena. O'Leary puts his IBO World Super Lightweight title on the line. It's his first defensive battle. Was there when he actually won that. Absolutely incredible atmosphere in Dublin that night, and he's back there. The British Southpaw, the Irish Southpaw, will be doing his business on Saturday evening. It's all on DAZN. You can get it on DAZN Ultimate for 185 plus fight nights and 12 extra pay-per-views per year, including Itama Hrgovic, Ryan Garcia, Conor Benn, all included at no extra cost. And on that channel at the weekend, of course, Anthony Joshua was in action out in Saudi Arabia. He was live on talkSPORT as well, taking on Christian Prenga. And since that, there's been boatloads of controversy. One man that was there ringside, calling through the fights for DAZN, was the one and only multiple weight world champion, Carl Frampton, who kindly gives up a bit of time to come and join us. Carl, how are you, mate?
Morning, Carl.
How you doing, boys? Morning.
Good morning. Look at him. He's got his footy shirt on there. He's ready. He knows the score. He knows the drill on here, mate.
I could have ironed it first.
Listen, there's been lots off the back of this at the weekend. Like, I'm sure you've seen the tweets from Simon here on talkSPORT and people's reaction to that. What's your initial reaction to what you saw on Saturday, and obviously then the calls for controversy off the back of the result?
Well, look, it was a very strange fight, wasn't it? I think 5 minutes of madness is how we described it. And look, I get what people are saying, but I don't think that someone goes into Prenga's corner and speaks to someone and saying, "What are you doing here? You can't win this fight." You know what I mean? I don't see that happening. It was funny. I was on the way back from the gym and I heard a fella calling in talking about Chelsea, but then he fired in this AJ fight. He said it was definitely a fix because he's a white collar boxer and he knows what he's talking about. And then you're kind of like, come on, man.
Listen, you've been there, done it, and got the t-shirt, mate. Has anybody ever gone in your corner, whispered to you, said, "Carl, what you doing here, man? Stop hitting him"? You know what I mean? You just pipe it down a touch.
No, the only time that's ever happened, well, something like that, was Jimmy Moore saying to me when I fought Josh Warrington, "What are you doing?" And that was my own fault because I don't know what I was doing. But yeah, no, I don't think it happens. I genuinely, I don't think it's as blatant as that. I do think there's maybe things going on behind the scenes and people pulling deals and stuff like that. I do not think someone went into his corner and says, "What are you doing?"
No, well,
you know what I mean?
The footage of the corner, DAZN have released it this morning to some extent on their social media, and the instruction from the corner was about patience. So therefore, in the first round, Prenga comes out and he's like a bull in a china shop, and he catches AJ a couple of times and puts him down on multiple occasions, right? But the instruction was about patience, about waiting for that opportunity. My take on it, Carl, is very simple. Prenga's never been at this level. It's a brand spanking new experience for him. And I know he's got 20 knockouts in 20 wins, but it's of a certain level. He's now in at the Champions League with Anthony Joshua on a big night for him. He's just had an amazing first round. I just think it got a little bit too much for him and he overthinks the moment. And by the time he's overthought it, AJ's taken advantage of it.
Yeah, that's probably it. I think that's more like it, if I'm being honest. And you know, although he was well on top in the first round and it looked like he was a punch or half a punch away from winning, the round ended. But I'm sure in the first round, even though he was on top, at a point he felt AJ's power as well. So maybe he was just being a little bit cautious and definitely overcautious. But yeah, you hear all these mad things and conspiracies all the time. I understand what people are saying, but I know boxing's a bit like the Wild West sometimes, but I promise you, it's not that bad.
Oh. Talk to me about AJ versus Fury now, mate. Off the back of what you've seen at the weekend, because Fury was out on Friday night against White. Obviously, AJ's fought Prenga. They weren't at their scintillating best, neither of the lads. Where's your head at with that fight?
Well, I still want to see it. Both of them were, obviously AJ was poor because he was dropped twice by a guy that we just thought he was going to blow away. You got to remember as well, people seem to forget that what happened to him 6 months ago was insane. So he's still getting over that and coming through it. Fury, I watched his fight afterwards. Again, looked really, really poor. Just a bit of a sparring session for him. In some ways, look, the boys are both well past their best, we would say. But there's a chance that it could be a better fight now because they've kind of slowed down at the same pace. Fury can't move as much as he used to, which means he's going to have to stand and have a fight, which means AJ has a chance. I think the old Fury, when he was up on his toes and moving around, I don't think I'd give AJ too much of a chance. But yeah, everybody's going to watch it. There's going to be people saying, I'm not watching it because
They're lying, Carl. They're lying, mate. They're lying.
They're lying. They're full of nonsense. Full of nonsense.
Well, I was going to ask you that, what you'd expected from two of them, but where do you see this fight going then? Carl, who would you put your hat in the ring with, if you like?
It looks like it's probably going to go to New York. That's what they're saying. I know Eddie and AJ are kicking back because they're saying in their contract it has to be in Wembley. So I get what they're saying. If you want to start changing contracts, then you need to pay us, really. And that's what a good promoter / manager would do to get their fighter the absolute most.
Carl, sorry to interrupt you, mate. At this stage, do you see that there is a worldwide value in this fight? Or is it just a British fight at this stage of their careers?
I think it's a much bigger fight in Britain than it is in the States. I think, boxing in the States isn't the sport that it used to be anyway. It's not a huge fight in America. It's still a big fight, but it's a massive, monstrous fight in the UK. And it does deserve to be here. I also get Tyson Fury's point where he's saying, look, the guy it's paying for wants it in New York, so that's where it has to be. But I get both angles, but I want it to be in the UK. These guys have been brought up in the UK. They've got a UK fan base. They've been backed by the fans in the UK, not America. Yeah. Has to be in the UK.
And the timing and everything else, what goes with it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out over the next couple of months. Who have you got as the favourite?
Don't know. I think. Look,
did your mind change on several occasions over the weekend, mate, as you were watching it?
Honestly, I 5 years ago I had Fury as a massive favourite. Yeah. Then it got closer, and I had it as a bit of a 50-50. And I probably still have it as a bit of a 50-50, if I'm being honest. I do think that AJ, it looks that AJ's punch resistance is gone. I don't think you can give him stick about his determination and his eagerness to get back off the floor and win. He's very, very brave, isn't he? But that first uppercut that hit him, it didn't look like too much to me. Frank is a big puncher, no doubt about it, but it was very concerning.
Yeah. Listen, I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again in the not too distant future. That Japanese shirt that you're wearing, mate, is absolutely mustard.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah,
like
fair play to you. Fair play to you, mate. Thanks for your time, Carl. Much appreciated.
Cheers, Carl. Thanks, mate.
Listen, from a fan point of view, get stuck in. 03717 223344. Would you say, Carl makes a really good point there. 2018, if they fight in 2018, it might be a bit of a tactical, technical standoff, and it goes quite long in the fight. Whereas now in 2026, weirdly, even though it's past its sell-by date, it's probably more of an entertaining actual fight.
Yeah. And I think,
from a visual point of view.
I think he is right. I think the worry what AJ will have is that, as he said there with the uppercut, what he took. It didn't look like a massive one, and he's gone down. We all know that Tyson can hit. And I think if he gets that opportunity, I don't think he's getting back up off the floor. And that's the biggest thing what I have. Whereas as Tyson now got the resistance to, if he takes them hits, what he did, say, in the Deontay Wilder fight, from an AJ who's a massive hitter as well.
Who've you got as a favourite? Who do you think?
I think Tyson will beat him.
Yeah. Do you know something? After Friday night, I thought AJ's got the ability to do it, but it's just that punch resistance. When you see that, it's with all due respect, I've seen AJ take shots far worse than what he took.
Exactly, and I think that's, and as he said, he's gone through a lot in the last six months, a year, and that, mentally as well as physically. So to come through that might give him the confidence and the durability to keep going and be ready and sort of think, right, okay, now I've got to work harder. I've got that little bit, where did them little tweaks what you'd have to make for different camps and everything else, and he'll understand that. So yeah, you might see a better version of Anthony in the next fight, and hopefully it just gets done. We just want it done, don't we? And we sort of want it.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Because I'm still not convinced that it's going to get done.
Mate, nobody is. We've been talking about it for 10 years. Stick with us here on talkSPORT. It's mid-mornings with Adam Catterall and Kevin Nolan in for White and Jordan. Coming up at 12 o'clock, something a little bit different. If you're an Arsenal fan, if you're a Spurs fan, you're going to love it. Two significant fans from your fan base are going to be joining us in the studio because there's a film released tonight at 7 o'clock called The Beautiful Divide. It's the story of the North London derby. We'll have more on that a little bit later on.
What do you make of that, Vinicius Junior? He doesn't like it.
I think there's a lot of assumption in it. I saw the clip, and let's be honest, it's a section of a clip, right? So me and him had a back and forth, and it was actually a good chat actually on WhatsApp. And I said, "Listen, mate, I'm going on talkSPORT and I'm talking about this." And he goes, "Well, think about it, Joel. Like, you know, Mikel has gotten rid of the likes of Aubameyang because of, you know, the attitude issues. Why should he go back to that once, you know, you've gone so far, you've won the league, you've done everything. Now you're going to bring in someone who could disturb the peace." And he's been so-so. That's what triggered me when he said he's been so-so for Madrid and Brazil. I said, hang on a minute, Troy. You're saying he's been so-and-so for Madrid, but if we look at the stats, in 2025-2026 season, he had 53 games, 22 goals, 9 assists. That's 9 assists. That's 31 goal contributions. And don't forget, the person who operates in his favoured position is the one and only Kylian Mbappe. Now, it's very obvious that him and Kylian are on each other's toes. So it's not that he's so-so. They haven't been able to get the best out of Vinny for the last 2 years. It is
talkSPORT News.
Good morning. With the latest news headlines, I'm Emma Smith. Andy Burnham says he's on a mission to cut the number of young people not in education, employment or training with a major schools shake-up. From 2028, 14-year-olds will be able to study technical subjects alongside work experience funded through existing college budgets. James Reed, CEO of Reed Group, says young workers need to adapt to the changing landscape.
AI seems to be replacing a lot of jobs pretty quickly, but the jobs it is not replacing are jobs that involve you washing your hands at the end of your working day. Many of them technical or vocational.
The Met is looking into a social media post shared by Green Party leader Zach Polanski. It showed a man wearing a T-shirt with a guillotine on it, alongside the words, "Making plans for Nigel." Reform's Robert Jenrick says it's right people are disgusted by it.
There's such appalling hypocrisy in the things that people on the left say, inciting violence, you know, making terrible, distasteful comparisons.
The Tories want Andy Burnham to introduce emergency legislation to stop the early release of serious offenders in England and Wales. The PM says he'll do anything to minimise the risk to the public after pausing September's prison release scheme last week. And former Top Gear presenter Richard Hammond's been fined £999 after being caught speeding twice in the space of 3 weeks. It happened in Herefordshire last December.
talkSPORT Sports Headlines with Bostik. For workable, easy-to-apply mortar that tools easily, pros trust Bostik.
Zinedine Zidane is the new head coach of the French national team, and age is just a number to Xabi Alonso. Toby has more at 12.
Good morning. It is talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Kevin Nolan alongside me. It is time now to catch up with the latest odds thanks to BetMGM.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. We're ready for the action. Are you? Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
Alex, welcome back to the show, mate. How are you?
Morning, guys. Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. How are you?
Very well indeed, mate. Listen, I did not know that you were a Leeds fan, mate. And if I'd have known this, I'd have brought this up yesterday and had a little bit of a chinwag about you. Obviously, we've been speaking a little bit about James Trafford earlier on in the show. What are your hopes, dreams and expectations for the new season ahead?
Yeah, optimistic, I think, rightly so. I mean, off the pitch as well, like everything's going in the right direction. The stadium's being expanded to over 50,000, and so far, so good in terms of the transfer window. Like Harry Wilson, I think, on a free is really, really smart business. Splashing the cash a little bit. They spent 30-odd million on Tarek Mihajlovic, a Bosnian centre-half from Sassuolo. And like you said, as Crookie alluded to, it sounds like James Trafford for a club record fee, £40 million is done too. I mean, I remember the days I was over the moon when we spent £1 million on Luke Murphy from Crewe. So to see us now...
Then were the days, Al. Then were the proper football. None of this VAR muck. Proper stuff.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, so to now see us, over 10 years later, breaking British transfer records for keepers, it feels like we're finally back mixing it with the best again. But you're a City fan, aren't you, Adam? So
Whoa. Don't be doing that, mate. I'm a Blackburn fan whose son refuses to support Blackburn because they're rubbish, so I've got to take him to City because he's a glory hunter. That's basically where I'm at, mate. That's where I'm at.
So you know a little bit then about City. I was going to say, what are your thoughts on Trafford? Because, I mean, I'm absolutely buzzing with the sign. I think it's exactly what we needed.
Yeah, listen, me and Kev were talking about this a little bit earlier on. He's a fantastic talent. I think he's proven more on the international scene in the lower age groups, more than obviously at club level. He was fantastic in the lower age groups for England, wasn't he? I think he was unfortunate at the start of last season because he didn't get off to the best of starts in the season for City. And then they've gone for Donnarumma. And when you've gone for Donnarumma, you're kind of going to lose out, aren't you? Because the guy's absolutely mustard. And he has been brilliant, Donnarumma, since coming in. I just think now's the key time for him to play some first-team football at the very highest level. This is no disrespect to you and your team. I think he'll get some work at Leeds, which is good, and he'll get the opportunity to showcase his talent, mate. I think it's a great signing. And with all due respect, I know that people look at fees and stuff. 40 million quid for a young goalkeeper, you're definitely going to get, if he stays there, you're going to get 10 years out of him.
Yeah, well, the talent, what you've got and what we talked about earlier, I think it's the biggest thing, isn't it, for Leeds fans? They should be, because this is a guy we'll probably all see, and everybody in the FA and everybody sees sort of taking over from what Jordan Pickford's had for a long time in the number one shirt, and this is his time now to go and showcase that. They're giving him the stage, they're giving him the arena, the fan base, everything. So if he starts off, and as I said, and he starts off well and does really well, I won't be surprised to see him back in the squads and back in, in contention of sort of taking that number one jersey away from Jordan, because someone's got to do it, and at some point. And I think this is his time, this is his moment, especially after the disappointment of this time last year when Donnarumma come in. Yeah.
Al, listen, seeing as that I've got Kev here, mate, obviously his former boys, West Ham, are going to be playing against my lot next year, Blackburn Rovers. What are the odds on them bouncing straight back up, pal?
Yeah, well, favourites, as you probably would imagine. So favourites at 2-1 to win it, or like pretty heavy favourites just to be promoted at 11-20. So Wolves just behind them in the market, so you'd imagine they would be the top two. But you're looking into, there's got to be some optimism around West Ham, hasn't it? Obviously a very, very disappointing season, but two big losses, of course, Fernandes and Somerville, but they've done very well financially out of that. 145 million on two players in the Championships, pretty unheard of. Bowen's obviously committed to the club, which I love that from him. I mean, I've been on the other end of it as a Leeds fan, where you go down and lads just down tools because they're going to get a move anyway. And I'd look, the players that's still there as well, like Walker Peters, Souček, Mavropanos, Diouf, Castellanos, Wan-Bissaka, like they've still got a strong squad, haven't they? And then Nuno as well, knows how to win that league. I mean, his Wolves side that won that league that year were the best I've seen at Ellen Road. Like, we couldn't get anywhere near them. So they've got the right man, I think. I mean, Kev, you obviously captain West Ham, didn't you, back to the Premier League 2012. So, like, from your experience, what are your thoughts on them and what's going to be key for them sort of bouncing straight back up?
I think the biggest thing was getting Nuno sorted right away. That was massive for them. Then, obviously, establishing Jared, the owners, making sure that they seen a clear path. But I think the biggest thing now for West Ham is spending that money. You know, where are they going to spend that money? Because they're going to need to bring in a few more players. You know, there's some good players there, some top players, you know, international players as well.
What's the youth setup like? Have we got some good young lads coming through there?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, a lot of them have moved on. So there's got a few. You know, George Airf, who's been out on loan, Lewis Orford, Caelan Casey, all lads who won the under-18s.
Yeah.
You know, FA Youth Cup final at Arsenal, beat Arsenal, you know, very heavily a few years back when we were the coaching staff there. So. Yeah, I mean, you might see a couple of them, you know, coming into that squad, but I think, you know, they probably still need 2 or 3 players who can genuinely, you know, go there and understand the league, and then obviously be a good player, because that's what a player who can step up next year, because that would, as he's just said, they're heavily favourites to go back up.
Yeah.
So they've got the target on their back. Everybody's going to be after them. I remember being there. I've done it, you know, with Newcastle, done it with West Ham again. And it was tough. It was tough. You know, it's not going to be easy. That league is not easy. And going away on a Tuesday night, and you know, up north,
up to Blackburn, mate.
Else,
you don't want that.
Blackburn, yeah. You know, on them nights, you know, it makes it much difficult. Yeah. Bolton, all them type of places. So they've got to have people who are going to stand up and be counted. And it's something which has been sort of questioned, shall we say, in the last couple of years to the West Ham squad. But I think with Jared leading it, with him now putting that forefront, talking about, you know, people who understand that league, you know, I'm quietly confident that he can get the job done and get back where they belong.
On the Jared thing, right? Because I've no doubt he wasn't short of offers from Premier League sides that would love to take him, because he's a sensational footballer. He's committed his cause to West Ham United. Do you think his father-in-law, right, went full? Do you reckon he went full on football factory around the dinner table? And he said, "You're not leaving, son."
Not a chance. Let me tell you. I mean, he's obviously a lovely fella, Danny, and they've got a great. I know they've got a great relationship, but Jared can look after himself. Let me say, he's a northern boy.
Wait, I'd love to have said it.
He's a farmer's boy. You know, he don't worry about that. He used to I mean, it was funny when we first met him. He was like, you know, what does your pre-season? He went, running in the spud fields. You know, you can imagine how tough it is, and that was his sort of work and what is.
That's a proper pre-season, mate. Up the sand dunes.
Exactly.
Come on, what's the matter with you?
All that type of stuff. So yeah, he can hold his own. I think he's done it for family reasons, his personal side. Yeah, he's looked at it.
I think he loves the club, genuinely.
Of course, he's got a love for the club now. Who, you know, took that chance on him as well. Brought him from the Championship, you know, for a lot of money at that time, and he's repaid that. Don't get me wrong, but I think the one biggest factor was that he didn't go to the World Cup. I think he sort of thought, well, he doesn't feel that, you know, he's going to get the opportunity to play in the Euros in 2 years' time. So, what's the next best thing? And that's to look after him and see where he's going to probably flourish with his family. He's got a young family with Danny, who's a lovely girl as well. And he's just been married, I think, last year. So all these things which would have come into the discussion, and I think that's what it is. He's took it for personal reasons more than anything else.
Well, promotion gets you a bronze statue outside the ground, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Legendary status.
Well, I haven't got one.
Well, we need to get that sorted. Come on. Listen, Al, earlier on, Crookie was on, right? He was draped in his brand spanking new suit, ready for a bit of glorious Goodwood. You're gonna have to give us some odds, mate, because he's been on the text. He wants some pointers as to where he should be going with his betting today. What's the latest on glorious Goodwood?
Yeah, 5 days getting underway today, 8 races, but all eyes naturally on the Goodwood Cup at 3:35. So Scandinavia and Trawlerman are doing the rivalries. I mean, them two fought out one of the greatest finishes in recent memory at the Ascot Gold Cup last month. Scandinavia come out on top there and then comes in as favourite today at 11-10. Trawlerman just behind him in the market is 7-4. But speaking to our racing ambassador Megan Nichols earlier on, she fancies Trawlerman to get his revenge today. That run at Ascot was his first run back in 8 months. It still went agonisingly close, of course. So should be fitter today than he was last month. But either way, yeah, that's the race of the day, and certainly not one to miss.
Sound, man. Thank you very much for your time, buddy. Much appreciated. No doubt we will catch up again throughout the course of the week. Lots still to come here on talkSPORT throughout the course of the morning. 03717 22 33 It is White and Jordan, without White and Jordan, but it is with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Keep things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
your neutral hat on, right? Remove the fact that I'm Liverpool and you're Chelsea. Just to have one of the best players in the world come to the Premier League when we're so used to losing the best players in the world to La Liga is massive for the Premier League.
It'd be massive, absolutely massive for the Premier League. I totally agree with you. But I think it's you have to look at it through the lens of Arsenal. You have to look at what this means for Arsenal. They're behaving exactly as they should. When you are champions, you come with being champions of England comes with the power. It comes with the opportunity, and they're making the most of it. I think this probably, if this happens, Vinicius Junior landing at Arsenal. Arsenal were already Premier League champions. They were Champions League finalists. They were Champions League semi-finalists last year. You think about the momentum of Arsenal. If he lands at Arsenal and is the missing piece to them winning a European Cup, it immediately becomes money well spent. It probably goes down, what? Off the top of my head here, biggest signing in Premier League history?
Yeah.
When you think about what rivals it, I think you could argue maybe. Do you remember when Pogba went to Manchester United and it was Pog back, Pog back,
that was
and all
big.
that? Stormzy playing a piano on
that was big,
pitch.
but because we'd already had him in the Premier League, it was big. Don't get me wrong, because he went to Juventus and turned into a monster. You're correct, and then came back and it was like, okay, this is a completely different Pogba. He looked almost like a foot taller, a foot wider. He looked.
Also, he'd won 3 leagues in a row, hadn't he, with Antonio Conte? Like he'd been an integral part of
But
3
he was
Scudettos.
never, as good as Paul Pogba was back then, he was never like Ballon d'Or conversation, Paul Pogba.
No.
Like, no one ever said Paul Pogba was the best player in the world.
No.
Whereas 3 years ago, good morning. It is mid-morning on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Kevin Nolan is alongside us, all in association with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's deals at selcobw.com. We are asking if there is any loyalty in football, because I don't know if you've seen this story. It's about York City, who had a fantastic season last season, racked in a ton plus points. Last day of the season, managed to get themselves promoted back into League Two. Their manager did an incredible job, Stuart Maynard, last year, but they've appointed former Crawley boss Scott Lindsay as their new head coach, one day after sacking, like I said, title-winning boss Stuart Maynard. Firstly, what was your initial reaction? You've been in the management game. You know how tough this game is right now, mate. What did you make of this? A guy that's gotten promoted, he's had an incredible season. He's gone toe-to-toe last season, where 2 sides in the division, very similar to that season where we had Man City and Liverpool in the Premier League going 100 plus and what have you. That's happened in the lower leagues. He's come through. He's got him promoted. He's got him into the top tier. He's lost his gig before the season kicks off.
Yeah. I hate to say this, but nothing really surprises me now. It's a shame. But that's just the industry of the football and management side of it now. You know, he's done an unbelievable job getting them back into the English Football League, to the EFL. He's obviously setting up everything in the summer, and then, a week before it all starts, probably, loses his gig. But, this would have been probably going on for the last couple of weeks, probably over recruitment, how we want to play, all that type of stuff, style, everything else. And and they've made the decision that it's probably not right for him to take them into the new season. So.
How can it not be right to take him into the new season? Because surely football is about winning, mate, right?
Yeah.
He has proven he knows how to win football matches. Because with all due respect, the season before, York were down the bottom end of the table. They made a change after staying in the league. They brought Maynard in.
Yeah.
He's done 100-plus points in the league.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult thing to do. He's very competitive down there. He's done 100-plus points in the league, got them promoted. What's changed in the direction? He knows how to win matches.
Yeah, I mean, probably the director of football. I don't know how it's tiered there, who he actually speaks to, but they've obviously gone with something which Stuart probably doesn't like, and he doesn't want to probably then sort of see it. They don't like what Stuart's saying to them, and they thought, this is probably, it's not going to work now, so we need to move on and find someone else, because they are probably two different managers as well. Scott Lindsay, who's coming in, was more, play out from the back, play with the goalkeeper, all that type of stuff. So whether Stuart said, you need to probably bring some more players in, or different players if you want to go down that, or he said, that's not the style. I want to win football matches and I'll win it all different ways. Which I think you should be. You should be adaptable in all situations. And what he's shown last year, them to score in the last minute. I watched the game. I was abroad and watched the game.
Mega Man, wasn't it?
Unbelievable. Not 1 minute Rochdale are going up, all of a sudden they get the equaliser so late on. So yeah, I mean, look, it's very strange, but as I said, Kat, and unfortunately, I'm not surprised, because it's what goes on now, and a lot of people are, just too quick.
But as a man, right? You've gone into football management, right?
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Because success, it seems like success isn't enough.
No, funny enough, makes you feel a bit better, because you realise that it's just not you get to the sometimes gets the bad end of it. So. It didn't make me feel anything but, it happens to the best of us, even the ones who are actually in there doing a great job. I managed to keep Northampton up, which was, an unbelievable job for what we were and where we was. We were 10th, I think, at Christmas, and we didn't or didn't get the money, didn't get the players we needed in at that moment in the January transfer, and the ones we wanted, and unfortunately that set us up for which was going to be a struggle. Now I still believe if kept my job, I would have kept them in the league, and I did say in December to the owner that it's going to be really tough, and he sort of laughed at me. I was like, no, it's going to be tough, because we lost Ethan Wheatley and we didn't replace him, and that was a big boo-boo from our side, but I knew it was going to be tough. And unfortunately, they lost the level of League One and gone into League Two. And I wish them all the best, and Kelvin and everybody, because I still got a lot of respect for them and everything else. But I still believe that them little moments in a season, they're really, really key. And I think that's what's happened at the beginning of the season. Stuart Maynard's been with the owners that be, and a meeting or a couple of meetings have not gone the way that the owners think that it should. And they've made a decision.
Right, but on that's the thing that winds fans up, right? Because I can only speak for my own club at Blackburn, right? We had owners that came in that obviously had absolutely no idea about football. They know about business, they know how to make a few quid and all that type of stuff, but they don't know anything about football. At the time, Sam Allardyce was our manager. I think you could say that Sam knows a little bit about football, right? But they made a decision at that time, right, we're going to take Sam out of this position, we're going to bring in our own man, we're going to go in this direction, and it just went to pot. We ended up as far down as League One, and then we needed Tony Mowbray to come and save us on a couple of occasions. Now, that from the outside would wind me up, because it seems like, why employ a man that knows about football to do football decisions, but then have your own opinion on football decisions as well, and try and influence what he is doing? Surely you employ a person for a role because they are the best qualified person for that role. Trust the football man to do the football stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's gone out of the game a lot, because you see it now, don't you? Obviously we've seen it with Chelsea at the top end. They've picked the players. They've gone. Now you're the coach to coach these players to be the best they can be.
That's mad.
I know.
It's mad, isn't it?
We've been saying it's mad for years, haven't we? We're saying they need this, and there's all these football players saying they need help. The youngsters need help and everything else. I think Maresca lost his job. Probably because of that.
Yeah.
Because he was fighting that, and he was, you need to help me in this, and they were like, no, this is the way we're going. But now they've finally sort of thought, okay, we've had now the fourth probably manager come in, I think, or the third manager come in since, the second, but since he's been in, this is probably the third one, because I'm sure Liam would have been the same, saying I need help with, a bit of older, experienced guys, and then they've give the they've gone to Xavi. There you go, and now they're giving him back his club. So, it is mad. But you have these people who who want their club and see a vision for their club, and that's how they want to do it. And because they're the financial guys, there's nothing really much there's nothing much you can say but sort of put your argument over to them.
Yeah. Listen, the argument against this is, I'm trying to think of examples where it has worked. Like Stockport's probably a good example where they've come through the ranks, where they've got a few quid, they've got a good infrastructure in the boardroom level, and they've made changes of managers when they've been successful in order to boost things on, and they're doing extremely well. Obviously, Stockport now moving in the right direction. So I suppose clubs will look at that and go, it's working over there, so we're gonna follow that. But then it makes it incredibly hard for young managers breaking through into the game, because you would think that you go down the pyramid to learn your trade. Right, I've got success. This is great. I'm building my resume up. Then you're off, son, because you don't fit our ethos. Listen, you've had experience of coaching at Premier League. You've had experience at coaching down. Is it harder down the pyramid?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, look, it was.
Is it that just from a financial point? What's
financial
the
point of view. Just obviously the restrictions you have within sort of. You don't have your gym on site. You have to go off site for your gym. You're not walking out to pitches. Can you get on the pitches at times? If the weather's too.
What, from a training point of view?
Exactly,
right,
because it might be soaked through. Or also in the summer when you can't get the water on the pitch, all that type of stuff. You come through all that. I took the Notts County job. We didn't even have a training ground at that time. They were training at a park. So you take on all these things, but that's why I've done it, because I wanted to see what it was like on that side of of the the lower echelons of the leagues. So I wanted to go there, experience them moments, having the conversations with owners and seeing what they're thinking, and can we make things better? And that's what we were trying to do. And I feel I left Northampton in a real good place when I did. I thought that, as I said, we would have stayed up. I did truly believe that, and I changed expectation there a lot of it in my eyes. But yeah, unfortunately, you lose your job, and then there's nothing you can do about it. You sort of walk away and shake hands, and then just wait for the next opportunity. And that's how it sort of works.
Does it put you off?
It does when it first happens to you, because you think, why do you do it? Why, but I think it's something what just sort of instilled in you, and you just love the day to day, the sort of the stress and the.
You love the stress.
let me tell you, and I hope my missus isn't.
Yeah, I bet your family.
It's more stressful living at home at this moment in time with the wife, day to day, and getting told what to do by ear. So I'd rather be telling 25 lads, what I want them doing. So yeah, no, look, I loved my time in Northampton. I hope they look back as fondly as I did. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them when they lost me, but I wish them all the best, moving forward, because they're all good people, but they've got decisions to make, and that's the decision they made.
But it doesn't put you off personally?
No.
Of wanting to be involved day to day, coaching, managing, and pushing.
I think what it's done is it's made me look at it and think, right, I've got to, you think you've got to choose well, and the reason why I chose Northampton was I knew that they were, financially, they weren't in a position that they were going to, ever going to be in the top echelons of League One. It was always going to be a fight to stay in the league because of financial reasons. We never, we're losing players to League Two and the National League. I think so. It never puts you off. I think what you've got to do is you've got to pick right. And I picked Northampton because they had a manager just before me who left on his own terms for 4.5 years, and I thought, and they backed him, and he went down, and he got up, and then he went down, and I was sort of thought, well, even if it went down, I was going to get time and opportunity to get them back up and be one of the probably top teams in League Two, with financially, with the money what we'd have, and sort of get a promotion, and things like that. So that's how I looked at it. I looked at it like that, and unfortunately, it didn't work out like that. And yeah, it's happened. And we just dust ourselves off and we move on. But I must admit, I've been really enjoying this side of it, Cats.
Of course, working with me, mate. You know what I mean?
Working with you, getting the opportunity to work.
This is it. This is it.
Yeah. So doing all.
He'll be back in management tomorrow. Cole will come in and say, "I'm not going back there with him."
No, mate. Yeah.
You've got to feel. Yeah. Just on that, you got to feel for Stuart Maynard though.
Oh yeah, listen, and he'll be sitting there and I'll be frustrated. He'll hate the game. He'll want to sort of. wonder. But I think he'll be sitting there, and when he looks back on it, he'll look back in a pride.
Absolutely.
It's an unbelievable feat that what he done. As you said, going to your rivals on the last day of the season and getting the result what you need to get you
in the manner they did it.
In the manner they did it, but not only that, but just getting the job done after going toe to toe all season long and getting what was I think were they 108 or 109,
108 and 106 or something,
something like that. Yeah, so doing that, he'll have that. And look, when the next job opportunities come up, he'll probably be on a lot of people's top end of the list. So. I'm sure we'll probably be seeing him quite quickly back in management.
Yeah. If you could just hold off offering Kev a job, he's got stuff to do here at talkSPORT before the start of the new season. That'd be great. Much appreciated. Right, we're going to turn our attention towards football rivalries. I'm sure Kev's been involved in a couple of these over his career. We're looking at the North London derby. There's a film coming out tonight called The Beautiful Divide. Arsenal, Spurs, two of their representatives from fan bases are going to be in the studio as well. Don't be going anywhere. It's going to be a fiery conversation.
It's boxing. I said it in the interview the other day. It's heavyweight boxing. He got caught by a fighter who's had 20 knockouts. Yes, albeit Prenga wasn't a hugely recognised name prior to that, but you don't get 20 knockouts, without being able to punch. And that's boxing. And the reality is, as AJ showed, it's getting back up from that and building your way back into the fight and finishing it the way he did. Did I expect that in the first round? No. But he showed his heart, his determination, and everything that's got him to this point in the sport.
Are you into boxing conspiracies?
No, I mean, is Simon Jordan under the desk somewhere?
He's on holiday this week, mate. But I've got his tweet here.
Well, yeah, you've got Simon Jordan. You got the other guy.
Oh yeah, but Paulie Malignaggi was on a little earlier on as well. He said a very similar thing. So basically, Simon wrote on X. I'm sure people have seen this, that he wasn't having the fight and that something was not quite right, as it was designed to rinse the maximum amount of money. Do you agree?
I mean, did he confirm any more? Has he spoken about it verbally?
I've not personally spoken to him, mate. I don't like to put words in people's mouths off the back of social media. No, I've not spoken to him about it, mate. I'm just going off what he's written on social media.
From what he's written, what he's suggesting is that the fight was in some way, I guess what he's trying to say is fixed.
Yeah.
So you think AJ got knocked down twice to then get back up and finish it like that?
Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Toby Gillis. Maybe the most highly qualified coach ever to be hired by a national team. Zinedine Zidane is now officially the France boss through to the next World Cup. Arguably, the only reason they didn't win this World Cup was their team spirit. Julien Laurent told us Zidane will command a difficult dressing room to come together.
Yeah, I think it's part of it. The relationship that he creates and that he builds with his dressing room, with his players. Obviously, as you said, the player that he was, he walks in, even if he was not a player or the player he was before, he's got so much aura, charisma.
A little bit of breaking news. Ipswich have made a new signing, £11 million for Kjell Scherpen from Union Saint-Gilloise. Goalkeeper arriving at Ipswich this morning. More details on that throughout the morning. Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck to Chelsea. If you're asking why on earth, well, maybe Chelsea TV founder Alex Harris can explain.
Why do I not mind Jordan Henderson and Danny Welbeck? Because I don't mind either of them, to be honest with you. Because, number one, I know they're not going to play every week. Number two, they're winners. They've been part of winning sides. And that's what we need. We need people who know how to win.
Welbeck's understood to have agreed personal terms. Henderson is a little further behind in his deal. You'll be able to hear Chelsea's first Premier League game under Xabi Alonso, exclusively live here on talkSPORT. It's at Fulham on the night of Monday, the 24th of August. Leeds are close to signing James Trafford from Manchester City for 40 million quid. Here's Chief Football Correspondent Alex Crook.
This is a smart move for James Trafford. I feel a bit sorry for him because he went back to City thinking he would be the number one. Then they signed Donnarumma a few weeks later. But I think he showed his quality in those cup competitions. Obviously, City winning the double last season, League Cup, FA Cup, and he was their cup goalkeeper.
And Joe Marler is in talks to become a gladiator. The former England prop is reportedly lined up for a surprise appearance and will be the biggest celebrity to take on the famous uniform since the swimmer Sharon Davis back in the 90s.
talkSPORT News.
Andy Burnham wants hard hats to be valued as much as graduation caps. And the Green Party says Zach Polanski did not realise there was more to an image he shared on Instagram that's caused Reform UK to report him to the police. Sinead has more in half an hour.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. The big summer sale is now on with great deals on a wide range of tyres. Visit quickfit.com and book today. Conditions apply.
A nation of two halves today. Rain for the north as far down as northern England. Dry and sunny and pretty hot further south.
Welcome to it. It is mid-mornings on talkSPORT. It is normally White and Jordan, but they're on their holidays at the moment in the lull before the storm at the Premier League back underway. I'm Adam Catterall in Fidji and White, and the Simon Jordan of today is Mr. Kevin Nolan. He's giggling away, but you know what I mean? You've got to say some controversial stuff, pal. So to help a bit of controversy, I brought in two controversial characters that are taking part. They've already taken part in this, and it is released this evening, 7 p.m. tonight on the Score 90 YouTube channel. There is a film by the name of The Beautiful Divide that is going to be released, and it is the story of the North London Derby.
I'm looking forward to this.
Oh, mate, I'd say, listen,
I'm looking forward to this more.
Well, me and you are sat in between these two, right? It could go off at any particular point over the next half an hour. But just to give you a little bit of a taste of what is to come tonight, take a listen to this.
They don't come from North London. They come from Woolwich.
It's a different level of hatred.
We had to stop filming there on a couple of occasions because it got a little bit tasty in there.
It's cemented in our blood.
You want to be an Arsenal fan, you can't like them down the road.
Biggest idiots in football are Arsenal supporters.
There's no way I can work for Tottenham Football Club.
But nowadays, these youngsters are stabbing each other over nonsense. They're deluded. We're Arsenal, they're Spurs. You.
It's always going to be hatred between us and them.
I could tell some stories, but I might get pulled in for them.
If you are watching on the talkSPORT YouTube channel, you will have seen the beautiful cinematic view of the story of the North London Derby from the pavement. See, Kev, when you're playing football, mate, and you're on the grass and you're in the changing room and you mind your own business, I don't know, you've got your energy drinks and all that, you've got your headphones in, psyching yourself up. These two are on the blooming pavements causing absolute mayhem out there, mate.
Yeah, it looks that way as well, doesn't it?
It does, yes.
There's a lot of bleeps in there. As well.
Oh, mate, listen, if you don't like your bad language, don't be watching this evening. That's all I'll be saying. Now, in the studio with us, and you just heard a couple of their voices on that preview there from Arsenal Fan TV. Lee Judges is to my right-hand side, split by myself and Kev. We've got Lee Wilder as well, also affectionately known from the Spurs crew as the Rabbi, in the studio to talk a little bit about this. Mr. Judges, I'll start with you, if I may, my man, because obviously the Arsenal Fan TV crew will know all about you, and you're a massive part of this beautiful divide that's going to be out this evening. talk to me about this rivalry. Arsenal, Spurs, what it means to you.
Wow, it means everything because you're brought up on it. You know, as a kid, you're told you can't like Spurs. You know, like other teams, you begin like to dislike, like Chelsea, Man United, for a rivalry of what goes on the pitch. But from a kid, if you choose Arsenal, you can't like Spurs. It's as simple as that. Like, you know, and even though I've got family that support Spurs, my granddad was a massive Spurs fan and all that. Like, when it comes to Arsenal Spurs games that weekend, you have nothing to do with them. You don't talk to them. You don't have nothing to. And then Monday comes along, you know, when Arsenal 9 times out of 10 won, you give a little bit of stick. But that's how it is. Like, I've got friends. You will not talk to them. Like, if the game's on a Saturday, Friday is a cut-off, and then that's it. Like, you know, and even if you see them in the game, during the game, like we get on the train. Sometimes I come from Cheshunt, which is a Tottenham area. You get on the train, and a few of them are on there. You just ignore them, just walk past them, don't have nothing to do with them.
You are a very different human being in the build-up to a game. Like you said, you just have a cut-off point. So I spoke to you in the build-up. Very pleasant like this, mate. You know what I mean? You're a very nice guy, giving me the old history of the game and the Arsenal and all this type of stuff. Gets to Friday. Oh, no, mate. You're a different animal, you, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely, because there's a different... Like, if you're playing Chelsea, West Ham, they're big games.
Yeah.
But you don't get that feeling when you're playing against Spurs. I sleep well when I play against Chelsea. But when you're playing against Tottenham, you're twisting and turning because you know if you don't, my brother's going to be on the phone or your mates are going to be on the phone giving it. And it's a wonderful, wonderful game. And the thing is with Arsenal and Spurs, I don't care what anybody says, the rivalry has been there for all the time. You know, the Liverpool-Everton one, you know, Liverpool would say Man United, you know, things like that. The Newcastle-Sunderland game, Sunderland have... been in the be dropping out of it. Arsenal and Spurs have been there all the time. Whether we've been much better than them, they always give you a tough game.
Rabbi, come on, sunshine. Right, same question to you, mate, because you're not backwards and coming forwards with your thought process.
Well, Jim Pell, you know what I mean? Babe Magnet, international Babe Magnet.
Can you imagine making a film with him? I had to spend a few days with this guy. Yeah, right. Go on. Give me from your point of view. You're obviously the representation of the Spurs end of this. Your thoughts towards this rivalry.
The rivalry is big. You know, I think for the youngsters, it's not the Arsenal Tottenham, but for us old uns, this is the one. You know, and
is it the first fixture that you look for? And when the fixture list comes out, is this the one that you look for?
Well, I didn't think it was going to happen. I thought we was going to go down, but I wouldn't have looked for that, you know. But we stayed up, you know, and we spent a bit of money. So next year, when it comes out, that's the first thing you look at.
Part of this film that we made tonight is obviously, well, it's all about fans and different aspects of fans, and there's a family aspect from both clubs. There's a nice element of both clubs, but there's also that underlying tone of connections to hooliganism and all these types of things. And these are the little bits that I wanted to tap into when we were making this film with the lads at Score 90. How much has that changed over the years?
Yeah, with me, it was I'll be honest, it was a big part in my life, but it's about learning about life. You know, I'm not into none of that. You know, I'm not into it. You know, I'm into the singing, the watching the football, the passion.
How much has that changed, Lee, over the years? Like you say, because you were involved a long time ago, but now it's completely different for you.
Yeah, it's a non-starter now. You know, like as someone said in the programme, the documentary. You know, you can't do it no more. It's, you know, you end up in prison, you know, but, you know, there's cameras, there's this, that, you know, people filming it. It's a dumb thing to do, you know, but it's still there, you know, even I'm 58, I know I look like 26, you know what I mean, and, you know, I'm good on my feet, you know. You can't imagine me doing all that now, you know, but back in the day, but it's still there, you know, that, listen, these Arsenal fans, they're deluded, right?
He's on you. He's started.
Oh, deluded.
How are they deluded? They just won the league.
Yeah. Champions.
This is how deluded. What's that song you sing?
Make sure it's clean. Don't.
No. North London Forever.
Yeah.
North London forever? That's deluded, isn't it? They don't come from North London. They come from Woolwich.
Which is technically true.
Well, technically true, like, but took over North London, like, you know what I mean? So that's how it is. But
really,
I think what Lee's saying. I don't know if Lee agrees with this, like, but I do think there's always been that Spice rivalry. But I believe that when Sol Campbell signed for Arsenal, I noticed a difference in going to White Hart Lane after that. There was a lot more hostility.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you both spoke about that without giving the premise of the film away. That you spoke about that extensively. Obviously, you mentioned that as you've just done there, but you brought it up as well, Rabbi, didn't you? When you were talking about
absolutely.
that, and how did that make you feel when Sol Campbell said, "I'm not leaving. Right, I'm off down the road for a freebie."
We'll go back to Pat Jennings when he left Tottenham. I don't know. You know, he might have had his reasons, but you know that weren't an issue. You know, we got a fee for him. And Pat Jennings is loved by both clubs. He's loved by Tottenham. Sol Campbell was our captain, you know, and he was a good player. He was our captain, and all I hear was his contract is running down. Are you signing a new contract, Sol? Yeah, I'm signing, I'm staying. I remember we cheered him, absolutely cheered him his last game. He does that.
Did it raise tensions between fans?
Well, yeah, in the end, when he went to Arsenal on a free, going on a free, but going to Arsenal, what's he doing?
Can I just say, Perrier, thank you very much for not having us taken off air so far. This is tremendous, the way that you're just reining it in.
Sol Campbell's last game was it for Spurs was against Arsenal in the semi-final of the Cup that year.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
So like,
yeah, but I remember he come on the last game. He was on the pitch. I think Hoddle was Hoddle the manager?
I think Hoddle was manager, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember chanting his name, you know.
Oh, dear Lee.
Oh, dear, yeah. You know what I mean? But Sol Campbell thinks he's excellent. he ain't sorry.
Listen, stick with us because these boys are sticking around for another 15 minutes. I want to get Kev's take on football rivalries because I'm sure you've played in a few, mate.
Yeah.
That have got a little bit spicy over the years. Did you ever play in a Millwall? West Ham? Did you? Oh, brilliant. That's superb. We'll get stuck into that in a minute.
Did you do the chicken?
I did, yeah.
When you scored? Or
Yeah.
Mate,
you couldn't have done the chicken much then.
Robert, you can't come in and insult the blooming...
We always said he ain't doing a
few
chicken.
more than a Tottenham midfielder.
I think you're Tottenham in disguise. I think you was doing a cockerel.
Listen, we're going to continue this in a moment. Myself, Adam Catterall, Kev Nolan alongside the Rabbi and lead judges from Arsenal Fan TV. There's a film out tonight from 7 o'clock. I'll tell you more about it in a moment or two. But before we get there, Commonwealth Games are currently on and John Cushing's right across it. John, what's the latest, mate?
Yeah, Australia's Peter Bol, quickest here at the Scotstoun Stadium this lunchtime into the men's 800-metre semis after the first round this morning. England's Max Bergen, a Diamond League winner this year. World medalist Ben Patterson and Alex Bottrell, all of Team England safely through as well to Thursday. Max telling me afterwards, unusually, he wasn't able to see the earlier heats, so he just came out, won the race and qualified. Job done. The men's 800-metre semi-final is Thursday night. The women's heptathlon is taking place at the moment. 7 track and field events, of course. Katarina Johnson-Thompson not here, but she's won at the last 2 Commonwealth Games. After 2 events, the high jump and the 100-metre hurdles, Kate O'Connor of Northern Ireland is in first place at 182 in the high jump so far. She's about to go for that higher leap if she can. And England's Jade O'Dowda is second, clearing 179 in the high jump. A busy morning at the bowls with the first medals up for grabs. Team England flag bearer at the opening ceremony last week, Sian Honour and Amy Farrow winning the women's pairs gold against Malaysia. And 27-year-old Angus Doig won bronze in the men's 88-kilogram weightlifting. We've got 15 boxers in action this lunchtime and this afternoon, including Lauren Mackey of Scotland against Helen Jones of Wales in the women's bantamweight, before Ellis Trowbridge, son of Duke, goes, Duke Mackenzie that is, I should say, the royalty, goes in the men's at 1:30, and then 5 gymnast finals as well from 1 o'clock. It's all happening. You can get tickets at glasgow2026.com. This is the Commonwealth Games, and it's live across the talkSPORT network.
Cheers, John, much appreciated. Right, football rivalries. I'm sure you've got your own. It might be your local pub against your local pub on the Sunday League or whatever it is. Which is the one that you're looking forward to the most throughout the course of the season when we're talking about elite football rivalries? Well, it gets a little bit tasty on the pavements as well as the pitch, all right? 03717 22 3344. We'll continue with the Rabbi and lead judges next.
don't know if you've seen Simon Jordan's tweets. We know Simon Jordan loves his boxing. He's very knowledgeable on boxing as well. But he wrote a tweet after the fight. A lot of people agreed with him as well. He said, "I'm not having that. Dropped twice, sets the tempo. How's that? Praying a totally different second round. Something not quite right. All designed to rinse maximum amount of money." Firstly, were you aware of that tweet?
Yes, I was, mate. I spoke to Simon about it after, actually.
Okay, well, what did he say? What did you say? How did that conversation pan out?
Well, so the conversation went like he said, like I said live on the live comms, the way that, so if you know as a fighter, it's instinctive. He had Anthony Joshua hurt after 20 seconds. Joshua barely got through the round. He survived. He walked back to the corner on his heels. He walked out for the second round, with the legs still very wary as well, very dodgy as well. And as a fighter, Christian Prenga then instinctively should jump on him and know the history of Anthony Joshua and how it takes him a while to recover, and jump on him and say, right, this is my big opportunity. This is my ticket into the big time. No one knows who I am, but everyone's going to know it's going to be one of the biggest shocks in heavyweight boxing history. And he didn't.
Tonight at 7 o'clock on the Score 90 YouTube channel, there is a film hitting your eyes. That's right, it's called The Beautiful Divide. It is the story of the North London derby, Arsenal Spurs. Joining us in the studio, myself, Adam Catterall and Kevin Nolan. We've got the Rabbi representing Spurs, and we've got Lee Judges, obviously from Arsenal Fan TV, representing the Arsenal. Kev, before I go back to these two, having a scrap with each other, right? You played in a few derbies yourself. You played in the one at North East, Newcastle, Sunderland. West Ham, Millwall in that one as well.
Yeah, that was a tough one going over to Millwall. We drew 0-0.
Which was the tastiest from a player being on the pitch?
Always the away games. So I drew them both drew 0-0 at Millwall for West Ham, and we drew 1-1 and I scored at Sunderland. But I scored in the other fixture. We scored a hat-trick, so very well liked by the Newcastle fans for that. I actually, just thinking back to in the derby between Bolton and Blackburn.
No.
A couple in that as well.
Why have you done that?
But yeah, I think the biggest hostility what I'd probably seen was definitely between Newcastle and Sunderland, and then definitely the Millwall and West Ham going in, and all the Mariah vans before you, like 3 or 4 before you, policemen with all the dogs all down the side of, and you're like, wow, and you've got angry men shouting and scream at you, and and you feel like, but
what's that like as a player on the coach?
Yeah, I loved it. Like, it was like, oh, this is a bit tasty, but you love it because you feel protected. You know that, and you know that there's just a genuine, like a bit like these guys, genuine hatred. And what I was saying off here is like there's genuine hatred between West Ham and Millwall, like there is between these two teams. Like, and I've never grown up with that because with Liverpool and Everton used to like. You have the one. My auntie.
It's classed as the friendly derby, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And but there's hatred there, but it's not. It doesn't go to the extent of what these guys are talking about. And I think I quite liked it that way when I was growing up. If I'm honest, but
I think in making this film, right, what I learned about your two clubs and the actual of this particular rivalry is that it is genuinely really authentic. Yeah. There's a lot of manufactured derbies, isn't there? And this isn't to have a go at anything. You've just mentioned the Liverpool one. It does feel a little bit more friendlier. Manchester City, Manchester United, it doesn't really feel like what I felt with you guys. I would say Man United, Liverpool is probably their rivalry. Yeah. I haven't experienced Newcastle, Sunderland, so I can't comment on that. But I went up to Glasgow for a little bit of Rangers Celtic. Yeah, there's a bit of nastiness there. You know what I mean? Is it a proper one? But when I'm talking about British or English rivalries, I didn't know as much now as I do off the back of making this film with the lads at Score 90 on Arsenal Spurs. It's real. It's you're genuinely living it on a day by day basis. And I asked the rabbi a moment ago, Lee, about looking for that first fixture. You're the champions now. You must be looking like your Champions League games and all that type of stuff. But I bet it's still the Spurs fixture in it that you look for first.
100%, always the first one. You know, like Spurs, first of all, you look for Spurs. When it is, you know, is it near Christmas? Is it going to ruin your Christmas? You know, so you look at that one first. Then you look at Man City or Man United. But definitely, like, you know, Spurs is always the one. Like, you know, it's the fixture you love to hate. You love it if you've won it. It's the best thing, but before it, building up to it, it's the worst. Because
what's been your favourite one of the year? Give me one game that you had with them that you like. That was the one.
For me,
was it winning the league there at White Hart Lane?
No, because we didn't win it. We drew 2-2. Yeah, so I felt.
You know what I mean?
But no, I always felt a little bit. You know, we should have won that game. We was much better that game. The best game that I've ever been at Arsenal Spurs was the semi-final in '87 when we beat them 2-1. It was level in the legs, and there's about 10 minutes to go from the end, and all the shelf and all the Spurs fans were singing, "We're going to Wembley, we're going to Wembley, you're not," and we just had to take it. And then Ian Allinson got the equaliser, and Rocky Rocastle scored in the last minute, and that will always be the best. Obviously, Anfield '89, you can't beat that, but that.
I was wondering when he was going to bring that one.
Sorry about that, Kev.
Yeah, it's all right,
but like that was a great, and that's when Arsenal and Spurs. It was in those sort of days. There weren't a lot between the two teams. They were both decent.
Yeah.
So like,
what are you saying, that there is a lot between them?
There's a bit of a gap now.
Rabbi, what's your favourite one?
I'm going to say when
there's not been many.
The semi-final when at Wembley.
Yeah.
When Gaza.
Yeah.
And even when you beat us at Wembley, I think you beat us 1-0, didn't you?
Luckily, 2 years. That's how lucky Arsenal.
You know why I like that? Because Spurs absolutely run Arsenal all over the place at King's Cross.
All right, okay. You're talking about the payments and not the pitch now, are you? All right, fair enough.
I was at St Pancras.
You missed that one.
So you want both then?
That's how lucky Arsenal were, because that, you know, like Lee's right, about 91, that was we thought we was going to win a double, and I'll tell you what, that's where my arrogance stopped about football with Spurs, because I just going to Wembley that day thought we was going to win that game easy. Ended up losing it. But how lucky Arsenal felt like that was first time at Wembley. 2 years we had to wait till '93 to get our revenge. You can wait hundreds of years. We waited 2 years to get our revenge, so we were very, very fortunate there.
What was that old Wembley like? It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Wembley was something.
It ain't nothing like what he used.
Are you talking about the pavements again here?
No, sorry.
Because there's loads of cameras in this one now.
Yeah, they didn't have CCTV at the old one.
Let's have it on our scooters.
Looking ahead to the new season, Spurs have done a bit of business, haven't they, in the summer window? You've got a new gaffer in there in charge. What's your hope? You call this lot deluded. You're going to be judged now, pal.
All right.
So go for it.
Spurs.
Yeah.
If you're listening, the hierarchy, get a couple of forwards and make sure they're good forwards, because that's what we need.
Right, okay. But you must be happy with the business that you've done so far this summer.
Yeah, listen, we've spent a lot, but we've got a lot back. I want to see, this 200 million, 300 million they said they're going to spend. Let's have it. We need 2 forwards.
Okay. Give me the prediction of where you're going to finish this season.
Oh, we're going to win the league.
See what he did then? He's called you lot deluded, and then here he comes.
Listen, I'm just living the dream. Us Spurs, we live the dream. We know it's going to go pear-shaped. These Arsenal, they live the dream. They're deluded.
Is it Champions League or bust this year, or what?
Well, I like to retain it. Obviously, that's the aim. But it's not easy, as we know. But we've penalty shootout away from winning the Champions League last season against the best team in Europe. So if we can get a couple of decent signings.
Are you talking about Vinny Jr., mate?
What did you think? I was just going to say there. What about Vinny Jr.? Would you have him? Because we were talking about,
I think I might take him, Kev. I just might.
But do you think he'd be good because of obviously his? And I don't want to sound dreadfully, because I don't know him and we only see him on the bits what I see on the telly and everything else and what you hear. But he seemed like a character, a real colourful character, shall we say, in terms of the way he is, what he says, how he comes across. Will that mess up what you've got as sort of a real sort of togetherness of a dressing room? Because he seemed like he's and listen, we all loved him, and I called him a maverick before. Could he be a maverick, and would he spoil things, or would you think he'd be adding something?
Listen, that's a great question. I think that if you're going to go that one step, like the dial changes you have, I think you've got to adapt to it. I think like Arteta has done very, very well with managing a lot of younger players, but I think if you're going to go and evolve and be the team that we want us to be, like winning Champions League and winning back-to-back titles, I think you do need to have that little bit of flexibility with your managing, and certainly somebody like that is what we need. You look at Saka, I think like he's a quality player, but he does everything properly and all. He's not a maverick. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, where I think that obviously, listen, Arsenal have had him in the past and been, successful. And so like, I think that we definitely, it would be good. We need, as much as it was great to win the league last season and all that, I think as an Arsenal fan, I think most Arsenal fans would like us now to be a bit more expressive, a little bit more open, and a little bit more. I can get it. We was not as entertaining as we should have been because it was so much pressure. But that pressure's off now. Yeah. Let's go and express. Go and express. Like,
Rabbi, happy? Well done, mate. I said to him before he come on the radio, don't get us thrown off there, right?
No, I wouldn't do that. Listen, I behave myself at funerals, weddings.
And talkSPORT. Well done, lad. Much appreciated. Gents, thank you very much. And also, from everybody at Score 90 as well, thank you so much for being involved in this filmmaking. You made the film. I'm looking forward to people seeing it tonight. It's on at 7 o'clock. YouTube channel, Score 90. I'll put the links all over my social media. Go and get yourself stuck into it. It is the true story, the beautiful divide, the North London derby. Listen, you know what happens on the pitch. You might not necessarily know what happens on the pavements. That story will be out for everybody to go and have a little bit of a nosy at tonight. Do stick with us. talkSPORT continues with me and Kev. Don't go anywhere.
Chaps, how are you?
We're good, man. How you doing today? You all right? Well,
I'm all right. I'm like, Goldstein, are you on a wind-up with this Kane to Chelsea thing?
Well, no. I never said it. I asked the question.
Yeah, you done it on purpose, so I'd ring up, didn't you?
Sol Campbell went to Arsenal, didn't he?
No, I knew you was going to come
Tevez went to Man City. It happens. Definitely happens.
Listen. Kane is proper Tottenham. Don't you know that?
I know he's proper Tottenham. I know that. I don't think he would do that.
Of course he wouldn't. So why are you talking about it and winding me up
Jeff,
for?
Let me ask you this.
Jeff. I've been working all night on a night shift, right? I'm going home, right? I was all chilled out and relaxed, looking forward to going home.
Now you're all bitter and twisted.
Sorry, Jeff. Sorry.
And now you're winding me up with this. I'll tell you what, if Kane goes to Chelsea, I'll do anything you say. Anything you want.
Well, that sounds weird.
Anything.
I mean, I would...
There's
nothing I would say.
No, if you want me to put an Arsenal shirt on the one down Tottenham High Road, I'll do it, right? I'm proper Tottenham. I was born in Park Lane behind the ground, right? From a baby till I was 7.
talkSPORT News.
Andy Burnham wants hard hats to be valued as much as graduation caps when school qualifications in England get a shake-up in 2 years' time.
We've had a system built for too long around the university route, and it sends a message to some young people that they're some kind of second-class citizens, and it's just not right. They need an education system that works for them as well.
He plans to prioritise vocational education as the first choice for children beginning their GCSEs. The PM says practical skills can help tackle the 1 million young people currently not in work or education. The Met is looking into a social media post shared by Green Party leader Zach Polanski. Reform UK reported it to the police. The post showed a man wearing a T-shirt with a guillotine on it alongside the words, "We're only making plans for Nigel." The Conservative leader wants an emergency emergency law in place to stop serious offenders being released early from jail. Andy Burnham has already paused the scheme, which aims to tackle overcrowding. Kemi Badenoch says they can work together on this.
We heard the government talk about bringing in emergency legislation for a bank holiday if we won the World Cup. They can do this, and we will be here to help them facilitate that. It does need cooperation from other parties.
And former Top Gear presenter Richard Hammond's been fined nearly £1,000 after being caught speeding twice in the space of 3 weeks. It happened in Herefordshire last December.
talkSPORT Sports Headlines with Bostik. For professional grade sealants with easy application and a perfect finish, pros trust Bostik.
Zidane backed to unite French individuals, and will the new goalkeeper tactical timeout rule really stop time wasting? More with Toby at 1.
And breathe. I'll tell you what, characters them two, aren't they, eh? Make sure you're tuning into that a little bit later on, 7 o'clock tonight. Like I said, it'll be all over social media. The beautiful divide, just reminiscing of your own tales there from certain derbies, mate. They must have been fiery then. Like, what's it like in the build-up to a derby like that of game week when you're in supermarket or in coffee shop or whatever it is? Are like fans on you all the time going, listen, mate, well, not this weekend.
Yeah,
come on.
I'll tell you what, it felt like when I first moved to West Ham, when we were in the Championship, every black cab I got in, he was a West Ham fan. And it was like, make sure you beat Millwall. It was like the first thing what come up, Nolan and me. And it was like, and it just always stuck. But the first time I really got it was when I was at Newcastle. And it was the week when we beat them 5-1 and I scored a hat-trick. But building up to that week, I was sending a package from the post office back home.
Old school, mate. Oh, that's proper old school. Right, go on.
And I walked in, and there was a lovely old lady just behind the counter and everything. And I was just saying, could I send this back, please? Record the delivery, all that type of stuff. She was like, yeah. And just as I was about to leave, she just went, make sure you beat them on Saturday. And I've gone.
She played that she didn't know who she was.
Yeah, I finished. Right. And like, there's this lovely, old lady looking after me, doing everything. Oh, that's fine, no problem. But obviously, she's probably seen, and she put 2 and 2 together. Make sure you beat them on Saturday.
Love it.
She's like gone like that with it, and she's got a black and white top on. I was like,
in the post office.
In the post office, she must have been between 70 and 80. And so that's how much it meant to them. And as I said, it was just everywhere you go, going up to them weeks was just like, it was something different in the air, with everybody. When it was West Ham Millwall, even going West Ham Tottenham, West Ham Arsenal, they always wanted to beat the Arsenal clubs. And the same when we were at Bolton, beating Blackburn, your boys, Bolton.
No need. But the thing is, again, from making this film, the beautiful thing is that what football means to people. And I think some football clubs maybe have lost that a little bit over the way. Especially, listen, it's a business now, isn't it? It's a massive thing, is the Premier League in particular. And some football clubs have maybe become disconnected to their fan bases and whatever. Compared to when we were kids growing up, it was... Yeah. They were bastions of the communities. They were the meeting places for all these people to get together and form these fantastic societies. The thing that absolutely, hopefully, will come through tonight when people watch this is just how much football and these football clubs means to these people. It's their life. It's the thing. They go to work all week, and on a Saturday, it's about that.
Yeah, and I even said it before. I mean, I didn't want to play it down with the Liverpool and Everton derby because it's not, because they actually hate the other club. But I think they just actually have the respect for the clubs as well. You do have the hatred because every Liverpool fan wants to see Everton go down. Basically, what Arsenal were doing with Tottenham, they wanted to see that. Years ago, I don't think that's going to happen. Now, David's back in at Everton. He's going to get them getting to back to the eye. So It is. It's just, seeing that, the hatred. I've always seen it. I've always known it. But I always thought that there was a lovely respect because of obviously the family orientated side. I've never ever seen the bad side of that, and it probably goes on at Liverpool 11 if you were going to do that. If you're going to go and find their bosses and everything else and people who just staunch Liverpool fans, then you'll see it. But I've got to admit, going into that Millwall game. At Millwall, it was a real big experience, and the one when Newcastle going into Sunderland, when you're going into the away barricades, the away ones were real eye openers, and then obviously I getting sent off after 7 minutes against Millwall for the West Ham, and us managing to win the game 2-1, which obviously helped me a lot. So yeah, a lot of West Ham fans remember.
Yeah, you might have got a bit off the back of that.
Yeah, but thankfully the lads pulled through and they were able to get the job done, and we beat them 2-1 on the day. So yeah, and I still believe to this day, Kat, and you can have a look at it and you can maybe text me later.
Shouldn't have gone.
I don't think I should have been sent off. I think it was a 50-50. I come out on top. I caught the lad.
Am I judging it on rules then, or am I judging it on rules now? What am I judging it on?
On rules now. I'll probably get
10-game ban.
But rules then, and Dunny, the lad who actually when I took over Leighton Orient, he played for me, and he was laughing, and he said, "Oh yeah, I play acted a lot there." He knew he played the game, and he got the referee on side.
He jumped a little extra high because it were you. Listen, like I said, that's out tonight, 7:00 on the Score 90 YouTube channel. Make sure you check it out. Now, just want to point towards everything that's going on at Manchester City. They've got a new manager in place, obviously, this season in Enzo Maresca. And it feels like there's a little bit of a rebuild going on there. We've been speaking a bit about John Stones. He's not going to be there next season. Of course, he's moving on after being a free agent. Bernardo Silva's now moved on. And there's lots of talk about Rodri with the noise starting to intensify from Real Madrid, wanting to maybe take him as part of their structure this year. That would be big. Out of the other ones, I think a lot of people have kind of come to terms with Bernardo Silva wanting to get away at the end of his contract. John, with all due respect to him, what a player he has been, but his body's been breaking down on him a little bit over the last year or so he's not played as much. So when you're talking about big misses for the new season, it might not necessarily be as apparent. But Rodri would be gigantic. If he was to move on from City, it would be huge when we're talking about title race.
Since he's had them injuries, I don't think we've seen the best Rodri until the World Cup.
Yeah.
And he hasn't been able to sustain it, and I think that's probably what he's looking at as well. He'll probably be looking at it and thinking similar to what if he wants this move to go ahead, because as I said before, it's very different in La Liga to what it is in the Premier League. So, and I think he'll be massive loss. Even though they've brought Elliot Anderson in, I think Elliot will probably need a year next to Rodri for things to help him. So. I think it's a massive job, and this is a statement what Man City have got to show, and Maresca's got to show that that we can keep the best players, and they're not all following the players who've been part of the massive success of under Pep. So to keep Rodri would be a massive win for Maresca, and a massive statement from the board and him to say no, we're keeping him and he ain't going anywhere. So yeah, watch this space. Yeah.
What do you do if you City? Because if Rodri doesn't want to sign a new contract because he's gearing towards a move towards Real Madrid, and nobody can blame him for this, he's got 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah.
If you're City, do you think, right, we've got the best player in the world here, so do we cash in? Do we get that dough? I know they don't need dough. Or do they ride it out? Because I agree with what you've said there. I think Elliot Anderson coming in, the benefit for him is going to play one season alongside Rodri, which is going to make him a better player, and then hopefully he can kick on once.
And it'll give them the best chance of winning the league as well.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
So what do City do? Do they cash in?
That's what I'm saying.
Or do you keep him there?
Is it a statement? Now, if it was me and I was Maresca, I'd be speaking to the board and saying, look, he's given us unbelievable service. So can we keep him for another year and see in 6 months' time and see if we can persuade him to go for another couple of years here. If not, we take the hit and we just lose him in the summer, but we'll have a better Elliot Anderson on our hands. We're playing with him and he'll know and understand what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's probably the way I would look at it as a manager and everything else. And I feel that's what he probably will be saying. But, sometimes the hierarchy will think, well, no, if we can, recoup the 16 million what they've spent on.
And you would think they would be able to do that with Rodri.
I'm thinking they'll be close as, because maybe go against him because of only having a year left on his contract. But if they can recoup majority of that, will that give him then funds to go and strengthen somewhere else or bring someone else in? So it's a big call. It's a massive call. But for me, I think if they want the opportunity to become champions again, I think they've got to have Rodri in the building. It gives them, a massive chance then.
How different does City look, do you think, under Maresca?
Well, this is what she's going to, be really interesting now going into the season and seeing him. We all seen what he done with that Chelsea side, with the young side. Going and winning the trophies and the cups. But he's got, the shoes he's got to fill.
They don't get bigger.
Yeah, they don't get any bigger. And, we all know that Pep, rules from top to bottom. So is he going to be the same? Is he going to be able to handle all the pressures of doing that? Or is he walking in and going, no, I want to manage the side, I want to manage the ins and outs and everything else. But, everything else is left to you to decide. Because I think, Pep at one point was picking the music, which was played on the match day, Tannoy. So, listen, massive shoes to fill.
Does it help that he's been there previously?
I think it does. I think that helps him. Yeah, I think it helps him. I think it helps him that he's got a respect. He's got a massive respect within the game of us coaches as well.
Yeah.
Maresca, I know a lot of people because he was at West Ham for a couple of years, and a lot of people, really impressed with how he worked, the way he worked, and what he does, and the respect he earns. And he's earned his opportunity, obviously, because, the people upstairs have been impressed with what they've seen when he's been under Pep. And I think he's come with Pep's lesson as well. I think that's been the biggest thing, a lot of the, talk when Vincent Kompany got the Bayern Munich job, a lot of eyebrows raised, but Pep was probably one of the, main ones who they listened to getting him in, I heard, So I think, this hasn't come lightly. Pep's been, this is his predecessor who he feels can take the reins and keep them going and moving them in the right direction. So big shoes to fill, and it's going to be interesting because we expect Man City now to be there, and we all know what happened over the road when Sir Alex left. Even after all them years of domination, we all know what happened. So he's going to need time to inflict his own, personality on the team and his vision of what he sees Man City going forward.
But he knows some of those lads. That's what I was kind of alluding to. He's already got some type of relationship.
He's got a relationship with all the ones who've been there a few years ago. So that's what I'm saying. They'll understand, and the lads who know him, as I said, I feel sorry when I was saying, he's got that respect within the game.
Yeah.
I feel he'll have the respect from them players who will then give it to the ones who haven't worked with Maresca before.
Yeah.
So he's already got a nice little in already. It'll just be whether his extension of him as staff and everybody can be as good as what Pep had and what Jurgen Klopp had, and in them top elite what Sir Alex had when he used to change his coaching staff to keep the players on the toes as he managed.
Is winning the league dependent on keeping Rodri?
Well, I believe so. Because I think that's why they've come short in the last couple of years since he's had them problems. I think that he's been a massive part of them and their success, and him being injured has been the reason why they haven't been able to get over the line and go on them sort of unbelievable runs at the end of the season.
City fans, let us know what you think. 03717 22 33 44. We're talking Bruno Guimaraes next here on talkSPORT. Don't go anywhere.
The Vinny Junior situation is interesting because I think when it came out of the weekend that Arsenal were keen, we all thought, well, how can they do that deal? He's on 400 grand a week. He'd smash Arsenal's pay structure.
Yeah.
Real Madrid, even though he's stalling on signing a new contract, are going to want a six-figure sum. But if they sign Diamonde, as looks likely, how do the two fit into the same team? And I think what's really interesting here, and Ben Jacobs, I think, has mentioned this a couple of times, they've got the same agent, Vinicius Junior and Jan Diamonde. So would his agency take Diamonde to Real Madrid knowing that he's going to compete with Vinicius Junior? I don't think Vinicius Junior to Arsenal is as fanciful as maybe it first appeared.
Now, when you look at Arsenal, they probably will. They've just got rid of Trossard.
Yeah, Trossard's gone.
Trossard's gone. So that's a space needs, and they've only got Martinelli on that left hand side. So they do need somebody else. Who is that person that's going to be able to fill in that space for them? Because there's not a large selection around the world, is there, Quickie?
No, I thought it would be Morgan Rogers, to be honest. I thought that deal would get done. I know he met Mikel Arteta even before jetting out to the World Cup, and Arteta had made him a top target, but fair play, Chelsea came in and gazumped them. I'm not sure Arsenal would have paid 117 million.
Good morning. You listen to White and Jordan on talkSPORT. I'm Adam Catterall. Kevin Nolan alongside me. To finish off the programme, we're going to revert back to what we were talking about a little bit yesterday regarding Bruno Guimaraes and this talk of him going to Arsenal from Newcastle. Alex Crook has just reported that Arsenal are advancing in talks with Bruno Guimaraes now. Clubs are in contact following weeks of denials over formal talks. It's been going back and forth, this conversation regarding Arsenal wanting Newcastle's talisman. I think that's the right way of referring to him, because he has been their leader, hasn't he, for such a long period of time. What do you make of this from both camps, actually, from Newcastle losing someone like Bruno Guimaraes, if that is to be the case, and Arsenal wanting him given the plethora of talent that they already have at the club?
Yeah, I think probably he's looking at it because he probably thinks he fell short, Mickey Arteta, last year in terms of having the, shall we say, the people who behind the 11, and I think he's looking at it going, well, bringing him in, we can rotate a lot more, the Premier League and the Champions League.
Yeah,
and he wants to go up them both. So I think that's probably the reason why Bruno is probably at the top of the list, because he's played in the Champions League, he's played in World Cups, he's started for Brazil, and not only that, his record speaks for itself. I think what you're just saying there, it would be a big blow for Newcastle, but are they looking at it? And I'm looking at it now with the deals, what they've done in the summer, and with what Eddie said at the end of last year, is that are they going in a different direction with the bought talent, Premier League talent last time? This is talent what they're going to, coach and become a proper team with a lot of lads who have been there and done it as well. So I think if you're going to lose Guimaraes in as a Newcastle sort of fan and person, I think it's if you can get the deal you want, because I understand he's not got long on his contract as well. You can cash in on him now and sort of help with your transfer kitty. I think it's got to be now. If he's going to go,
you can't have an Isak situation, can you?
Because it can't go on like that. Because you could see how much that took out of the Eddie and the staff by every time. It was just all the talk about Isak and him not being there and what's going to happen. Is he going to go to Liverpool? Yeah. Is he not going to go to Liverpool? So I feel that with the way Eddie spoke at the end of last season, I remember watching a press conference of his, and he'd had a conversation with the hierarchy of Newcastle, and he looked refreshed into this is the way we're going. Now, he didn't tell us how he was going to go, but I think it's sorted all there now to see is that young talent from across Europe, where they take them on now and make them better, to whether it's to sell on or whether it's to keep them at the club for 5-6 years to get them back where they belong and where they need to be. And I think probably if they can cash in on Bruno, I think he'll probably say, yeah, let's do it, but let's get it done early so then I can get the replacement pretty much ASAP, really.
Where would you be at from a coaching point of view then? If you're Eddie Howe, he has done remarkably well at Newcastle.
Unbelievable.
He's won stuff. He's eradicated the hoodoo with 50-odd years without trophies, all that type of stuff. He's done brilliantly. And he's obviously a really good coach, a manager. He improves lads, right? So if now the tact has changed from where they were to where they are right now, and we're going in this direction, where are you at? Because you've got your own ambitions. You want to win the top trophies. You want to be competing at the top level. If that's not the case now at Newcastle United, because I'm sure...
Well, I don't think they're buying these lads to then say, oh yeah, we're going to finish in the bottom 10 again. I think they're buying them to be in Europe next year. Now, I don't think Champions League, is going to be probably the one way to go. And we won Champions League year in, year out, which was probably the original goal in the first place. Champions League every year. Now they've realised how difficult that is to do on the budget, what they've got, and with the restraints from financial, what they've got. When we all know they're the richest club, but they can't spend it.
Yeah.
So how else could they get there? Well, this is another way where they've probably all looked and turned and gone, this is another way we can do it. So they've all got to buy into that now, and it's got to be where you get given time, to bed them all in, to settle them all in, as well as a squad who can go at the Premier League this year without any European, distractions, and he can be on the training pitch with these players and get them to where they need to be to get them into Europe again for another season, which a club like Newcastle will probably demand. But I don't think the demand is Champions League to be winning a league in 5 years. I think it's now to be European adventures year in, year out.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's how you do it. So
we've seen recently, haven't we, like the likes of the Crystal Palaces, Forest, all these guys who have had great runs and picking up trophies on that European scene. There's no harm in Newcastle. Newcastle should be able to do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we won the conference with West Ham, first time in a long time. If Newcastle go and win that then guarantees them that they're going to be in Europa League the year after.
Yeah.
So that's 2 seasons. So is that the realistic...
Helps attract a different type of player as well.
Exactly. You get Europa, and then the next year, if you can go on, and we've seen Nottingham Forest, last year do really well, just fall short in the semi-finals against Villa. But can Newcastle go and win the conference one year, then go and win the Europa the next year, then be in the Champions League? That's another way of getting it. So there's ways which you can do it now, and you've got to look at it. But everybody's got to be on board. But what I thought and what come out of that sort of press conference when Eddie was talking was that there was a clear vision from him of what's going to be happening at Newcastle moving forward, and he seemed to be on board.
Will the fans be happy with that?
I think they've got to be. I think because they haven't been able to go out and get and attract all the best and the biggest because of the financial restraints. So they've got to find a way. And listen, they're one of the best fan bases I play for. The way they love the club. So I think as long as they see a clear vision and they know, they'll be behind the team and they'll make it difficult for the opponents every week anyway when they're there. So I think they want success. They've had success, so they'll be smelling it.
Yeah.
But what they've got to do is they've got to trust Eddie and what he's going to be doing.
I find in these moments communication with fan bases is key, isn't it? Just being honest with him. This is where we're at. This is where we were. This is where we're at. Because
and listen, they're not daft up there. They understand that.
Yeah.
So they'll understand all this.
But don't treat them like mugs. Be honest with him.
Yeah, I think, and I think you if you got callers on now, they'll be going, yeah. I think majority would say, as much as Bruno's done for them and how brilliant he's been, I think they'll be probably agreeing, get in, let's move on. This is they'll be able to see the vision of the club by what the transfer activity says.
Yeah.
There's no hiding place because they're all under 20, and they've paid big money for these 20-year-olds who are supposed to be the next ones, to be the best. So, they've gone a different way. So hopefully it's going to be the way which is right. And as you said before, Eddie Howe, coached the team, and majority of them team from League Two, played in the Premier League. So he doesn't do too bad in his coaching ability.
He's all right in it. He knows what he's doing.
So in Eddie we trust at the minute. So just keep it going, mate.
Top man. Listen, thank you very much for your company this morning, mate.
Appreciate it, mate.
Appreciated it, pal.
No, enjoyed it.
I'll be back tomorrow from 10 o'clock. Make sure you join in for that. I'll take all your feedback on The Beautiful Divide, which is out tonight at 7 o'clock. talkSPORT continues next. Don't be going anywhere.